Big up, people. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all eating blue, sleeping blue, waking up blue, and overall living the blue life. But more importantly, blue morning to you. I think I have to adjust some settings here with regards to how I'm fading away like a ghost. This looks a bit better, maybe. But that's by the way. Thanks once again for finding the time to join in the show. I hope you're all doing well. Quite an interesting topic today. A legend is back at the club. The question is, was it again a good decision or was it a bad one? The pros and cons. We're here to debate that today. And if any other important news pops up today, we're here to also talk about it. That's why we're here. And it's always as interactive as ever. So sit back, relax, and let's get into the show. Yes, people, first things first. If you haven't, please take a second, drop a like on the stream. The likes do go a long way. And for those of you that are watching and for one reason or the other, not able to join in the chat, we appreciate you watching. You watching does go a long way. But if you can take a second and drop a like on the stream, that will also help us reach more people. So thank you so much. As always, it's always interactive. Yeah, let me try and get to those we have in the chat. That's how we keep it here. If it seems like the chat will overwhelm me, what I would do, hmm, what I will do is just a turn on slow mode. There's some interesting news also. Like I said, quite a lot of interesting stuff popping up here. But we'll talk about that in a bit. I think it's a good move, even though the season is already over. Danny Music elaborates, and we understand why you say that. I really want to know. Let's go, super Frankie Lampard. I like him as a player. Do I like him as a manager? That's another question that I have to take my time to answer. But that's, by the way, we move on from that. Vivel, I hope you're doing well. Rahayu, a.k.a. Vivel, a.k.a. 343 Dilemma, and Danny Music, I hope you're doing well, too. We've got Super Frankie Lampard. He knows exactly what he needs, what we need. Thiago at the back, no one in attack, but Chelsea gonna win the Champions League. I hope he does that. I have my doubts, but if he wins it, I'll take it. But I think there's a lot of questions, a lot of stuff to talk about. So why it has to be now? Why did we fire Graham Potter in the first place? It just doesn't make any sort of sense. If we want a new manager, a new permanent manager, they should come in right away. If they're not able to come in right away, can't count out the person. But I'm not. We'll get into that in a bit. Managerial old guard. Paul Clement joins. Okay. We all need this kind of backroom setup. Who got experience winning, a win, and not some boys get everything. Horse, you know what? But I'm not gonna say that. I get it. Some fans think it's better to pay Enrique additional million to come to Chelsea, take one meeting, one training, get smart by Real Madrid. What's the difference? What's the difference between this comment right now? What's the difference between him coming right now and Frank Lampard coming in now and Enrique joining in the summer? The difference to me will be Enrique will start working with the team right away and get to know them even better before the season, before next season. More like preseason now. Just win one more game or two, and we're good in terms of not being in a relegation battle. But for the Champions League, believe me, I think he's capable of winning it because the rumors are his presentation shows he knows each of our players, knows them quite well, their weaknesses and their strongest points. But that's, by the way, I get it, by Real Madrid. And then have a glorious start for next season. Yeah, dreamers. Let's see what we have here. A very sensible decision, a second sensible decision by Bali and Co. after first sacking Potter. Okay, big up to you too, brother. Here's another Lampard man here. This bro here loves Lampard so much. I love him too. But still, I'm not. Maybe it would take time for me to understand that it was a good decision. But for me right now, I wouldn't say it's a good decision at all. My goat, I said it. My goat returned Happy Days, not a PR move per se. They needed someone to salvage what's left to salvage, and Frank knowing the club inside out, it's a big plus. Here's the thing: when the argument comes in with regards to the again to the talks of Frank knowing the club inside out, we have literally, you could say, an entirely new team. Yeah, except for a few players. So I don't think this again. I don't think this is where you knowing the club inside out matters. The culture have changed. Lots of the personnel that were at the people that were at the club when Frank was a manager, lots of them has left. So to me, we need to have that conversation as to why it has to be Frank, as to why if you really want to bring another manager in, I get it. You take time. Why not let Potter finish the season? But we'll get to that in a bit. Let me get what some of the stuff we have in the chat. Michael, yeah, I've read that one. Big up to you too, Vivel. I hope you're doing well. Meanwhile, Glassman is still a skateboarding to London. Okay, Nagelsmann. Okay, he is he's carbon neutral. Let's see what else we have here. Okay, I'll find space to do that, but I usually have issues if I open extra tabs on my screen, but I'll find space to do that. And big up to you, brother. And guys, if you haven't, this bro here, the Blue Studio, is my bro from Niger, original Niger brother. His streams are every day, every day. But during evenings, later in the day, I'm not sure the quite, but I'll find out the time and let you know. You need to go check out his channel. Lots of conversation and lengthy one at that. Excellent panelists every day. If we score one goal, this will be a master stroke of a move to appoint Lampard. Let's go. Yeah, here's the thing. I'll take it. But there are questions. To me, it still doesn't make any sort of sense. Super Frankie Lampard, these poster looks so much better now that Potter blank glare is gone. Wow. Okay, a big up, coach. Big up to you too, JC. How are you doing? I'm feeling much better, and I'm postponing the follow-up procedure until I return from Texas. But coach, if Enrique or Nagelsmann joins us now, it will damage their win ratio. I'm just saying. That's the least of my concern. The positive side is they start learning about the team earlier on, and plus the preseason, it would be a huge plus. And if you're a serious manager, I'm not sure how else to phrase it, but to me, I'm confused as to why Potter was let go in the first place. He already knows the team better than Lampard, no matter how you see it. Knowing the club inside out, it's a different argument altogether. I would join forces with Roger, rebranding it to Roger and Glenn Incorporated to Notch Lawyers. Yeah, go ahead. I know most definitely you'll become Lamb's lawyer. Todd ain't stupid. He knows Frank coming will suit some supporters. It will suit some supporters, but a lot will be questioning what sort of decision is that. Like Jesse said, a season is lost anyway, and it cannot get worse. It could end up being a well-calculated risk if he wins the Champions League. And here's the thing: I don't think Frank will accept this job without some sort of clause that says, if you end up winning the Champions League, you keep the job. He's a smart guy. I get it. It's an opportunity for him to put his coaching career back on track immediately after that awful stint at Everton. But it still doesn't make any sort of sense. A super Frankie, Frankie Lampard. Morning to you too, Dexter S. This is exactly what we need to rehab our connection with this team after that horrible Potter experiment. A lot of people still, a lot of people think it's good idea. A lot of people still do think it isn't a good idea if you're paying attention. Lampard literally sunk Everton. What a bizarre decision from the board. In my opinion, that's how I see it. But that does not saying my opinion doesn't mean it's it was a bad decision. It could still be a good decision. Big up to you, IBC, how are you doing, bro? Hopefully you are available to speak now because usually you join
Yo,
us
big
from
up,
work.
man. Yeah,
Big up
yeah,
to you.
big up. I'm available today still. Happy Easter to all the man them. Big up the chat.
Mm.
Big up yourself,
Big
coach.
up, brother. Big up. Big up to everyone in the chat too. You heard IBC. IBC, let's start by I want to ask you a particular question. We're hearing that they've also reached out, had some discussion with Antonio Conte, and also this morning the news broke that they also are speaking currently. I don't know if I'll pull it up to be sure, not to misquote anyone, that they're currently speaking with Jose Mourinho himself. Your thoughts on the managers
Okay.
that we have on the list right now? We've heard about Enrique, we've heard about Nagelsmann, we've heard about Poch, we've heard about
Yeah.
Conte, that they reached out to Conte. Now they reached out to Jose Mourinho. Your thoughts before we go into Lamp's coming back?
It's a lot to unpack, a lot to take in. Um, all I can say is that I know that they are doing what they feel they need to do to make sure they don't add more damage to the mess up they kind of done. But yeah, you can argue why they sacked Tuchel to bring in Potter, to sack him 7 months later to bring in Lampard, who was sacked to that Tuchel replaced, and the manager that's gone to Everton, kept Everton up, had a dismal stint at his second spell. You know, there's a lot of questions. But we are where we are right now, and these owners have to get it done, and they have to look for the right person to take this job forward. It seems like they got it wrong with Potter, so they need to get it right again with the next manager. They can't do it very quickly like they did it with Potter.
They're being as cautious
quick.
as ever.
Well, they're doing their due diligence. So they're going to interview, they're going to, they're going to pitch. Managers are going to pitch to them. They're going to pitch to managers what they want, and vice versa. And if the candidate is looking long between the numbers of 5 to 8 to 10 candidates, he's going to do his due diligence and take his time. In the meantime, obviously, the moving bus still needs driving, and someone needs to drive it. And so they've had to bring in an interim coach. And I don't see anyone else who would have taken this job on as an interim coach with 10 games to go and a Champions League to go for other than Lampard. I don't think Lampard would have taken any other interim job if he had been offered, I don't know, Leicester, West Ham, or any job. I don't think he would have taken any other job if it was just for Leicester. I don't think he's doing it for any clauses or any financial. Obviously, he's going to get paid. But I believe it's just for the sole love for Chelsea Football Club he's doing this, and I would like to believe so. And it's a win for him. For him, he gets to try and put his career back on track. He tries to steer the club he holds closely to his heart to build a morale standing point, build a Chelsea ideology that he is familiar with, that he knows, that some of the players kind of do need to be put in their mindset. And I don't see any way this can be a failure if this is an interim role with 10 games to go. So what could be the if it goes very bad, we're in a situation where, okay, it did go bad, and now we got a new manager that's going to come in the summer and clean up the whole mess that has been going on the past 12 months. Obviously, if it does go well, he has put us in a situation where the next manager comes on and picks up a good mentality and we move forward. So, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. What can I say? What do we want? We bring in another manager now. What's the new manager's motivation right now? He needs to plan. I don't think any manager will come in right now, and let's be honest, like any top manager will come in April, 10 games to go with the season, saying they want to manage a top club going into the new season. I don't see it. It's usually, interim towards the end, and in the summer before pre-season, before players are back from holiday, the manager's already in there sorting out. So by the time players are back from holiday, they've seen a new gaffer, new coaching staff, new training drills already sorted. So I think this is the best approach you could take if you are looking to do your due diligence and make sure the right manager is coming. I don't see any other person that can do this job. I do not see it. I wanted Mourinho, but could Mourinho leave Roma to come here on the interim? That's impossible. You have to get him on a deal.
Mm-hmm. Here's what I think. I think the lure of Champions League is enough to even lure the confidence. You can say those big names with big egos that believe they can win it, just they can come in. And we've seen that before. We've done that before. But true. It just doesn't make sense to let Graham Potter go and then hire Frank Lampard, who literally dragged Everton into the relegation zone with 27% win, 27 win percentage.
I understand that. I fully get that.
So it begs a lot of questions. And plus, let's start from the fact they wanted to keep what's his name, Graham Potter's assistant. It just doesn't make any sort of sense. Okay. I love Frank. Do I love him as a manager? No. To me, maybe it's a well-calculated risk. They feel like they know he'd be eager to take the job. They know he'd be eager to show he's capable of doing it. And I'm still saying there's no way there isn't a clause on that contract that says if you win the Champions League, you keep it. Because I know they still won the Champions League.
Then that would be very mediocre. He's on an interim role, and I don't think it goes any further than that. With all due respect to Frank Lampard, I think he knows.
Would you take it without an agreement that if you win the Champions League, you keep it?
If I love the club, why not? This is Chelsea. I'm not here. This is Frank Lampard they're talking about, coach. We're not talking about a manager. They're talking about Frank Lampard. This is him. This is Chelsea. It's him. He's bringing in Ashley Cole. This is him. This is Chelsea. It's him. I can't explain that enough. If I don't know if anyone can't get it, then I can't explain it. This is him. He will do it for free if he had the opportunity to do so. This is Frank Lampard, and he will take the job in a heartbeat. Like I said, he's the only manager free that will take this job.
If we're talking about his loyalty to the club,
if any other club were to offer him this role as an interim, if Leicester were to say, "Oh, Frank, can you come in and do an interim role for us to end the season?" I think he'll say no. Obviously, the lure of a Champions League is a very good incentive,
and also the size of the club and the opportunity, to polish his resume, because this is Chelsea.
Exactly. But again, with all that being said, why would you even still? Would you say no? Even you mentioned earlier, you said a top manager will take the club, will want to come for the Champions League. I mean, then that will be a rush. If you're a top manager and your eye on the prize is just to make sure we win the Champions League now, coming in now, then you probably, whilst it's obviously that's lucrative, but if you look at the stumbling blocks ahead of us, if that's your only incentive to come in now, then what is your long-term future if you know we're not getting this next season if we don't win it? So I would like it to be calculated. It's an incentive if we win it at this point. It's not a given. We're not supposed to win it, guys. We're just in it because we did well. We're not Real Madrid are in front of us, Bayern Munich are in front of the teams in front of us. You know what I mean? We are there. We're as good as other teams, but we're not favourites for this. Man City need a Champions League. They haven't won it since all this investment. We only won it 2 years ago. We're the last English team to do so. So I don't want us to put pressure that, oh my God, we have to win this Champions League or we are done out here. No, that's not the narrative.
No, it's not a given
at all. It's not a given, exactly. And it's not the narrative that Lampard has to come in to win this Champions League. That is not his job here. And I want people to kind of understand that before we get the wires crossed. If Lampard gets his arse handed out to him against Real Madrid, he wasn't brought in here to beat Real Madrid. He was in there to change, to reboost the morale of the squad, put identity of Chelsea into the squad. Some players don't even have it. Bring that identity. So the next manager coming in could hopefully have a good plate to pick up off, and then we move on from there. Because what Potter inherited from Tuchel wasn't good enough. So what we want to do is to make sure that the next manager that comes in, he inherits a good squad going into the summer, going into pre-season, ready for the first game of the league next year. So that's what we are aiming for. So what Lampard has to do now, regalvanize the squad, put some morale, put some blue injection in there, and get these guys pumping again. Because, I mean, it's possible.
Yeah. He can
It
get
is
them
possible.
going for a couple of reasons.
100%.
New manager bounce is well and truly in existence.
And reigniting the passion of the club, reigniting what it means to be Chelsea,
The
reigniting that
passion will be there.
philosophy.
But here's the thing, I have to say this before I try and catch up what we have in the chat.
Yeah.
No matter whether it's positive, whether, again, it has its downside, though, but we'll get into
No,
that in a
100%
bit.
it has its downside.
Yeah.
As a coach, what is he? I fear when he goes to Arteta, we're gonna go to Arsenal. We're gonna have a repeat of that COVID year where we were on top and Arsenal were where Arsenal were catching L's, and we went to the Emirates and took an L. So I have a PTSD of how he's going to reignite himself again when we go there, and other games going forward. We got Wolves again on Saturday. He knows how to win at Wolves. He's done it before with us already. But I want to see how he reignites himself and how he rejuvenates the players. I believe he has a better squad of players he had when he was with us, and he had when he was at Everton. So maybe that may work into his favour. But again, there's still obviously question marks into his coaching ability. Does he know how to game manage, defending, and those things come into question. But no doubt, the passion of the club and the blue injection will be needed for him to get the best out of the squad, at least for the remainder of the season, man.
Yeah, I understand. I'm going to say this quickly before I try and catch up the chat. No matter how we see it, I think it's been chaotic. The fact that they fired Graham Potter and they were willing to give his assistant to the end of the season, that aspect doesn't make any sort of sense to me. He had to be the one to say he's not staying, probably because of his loyalty to Graham Potter, his boss. It doesn't make any sort of sense. It's chaotic, really. But let's move on from that. The bad decision that cost this was sacking TT. That's where everything started. You could say from there, even no matter how you see it. TT, do I think he was perfect? No. But let's move on from that. Now they want to evaluate Luis and Julian, and that number has grown beyond those two players. Luis Enrique, Julian Nagelsmann, Conte. They've spoken with Conte. They've also spoken to what's his name, Jose Mourinho. I'm hearing that this morning. You could have given TT the rest of the season. I said that too. They could have given him the rest of the season. I'm sure he would have accepted. At the end of the season, I'll leave. Clubs do that. Everyone
picks and chooses. A lot of people. I stressed it. A lot of people say we want him out, get him out. He's out now. But they say, why don't keep him to the end of the season? Because you guys didn't want him to the end of the season. You wanted him out from Southampton. So the guy's out now. They want to get a manager that's going to make sure they do it properly. They messed up by just bringing in Graham Potter because of the high stakes that was surrounding him. They rushed it too early. A few question marks, obviously, from the fan base. It didn't work out. Now they want to do it properly. Now they're questioning, why did you sack or why did you keep him? Because it didn't work out. Of course, it didn't work out. What you not want to? So a Potter should stay to the end of the season because you guys will not have
Even
it.
if it didn't work out,
you guys will threaten his family. You lot will threaten his kids. You will say his kids should do God knows what. The guy's gone now. You're saying, why didn't you guys? We can never be pleased. That's fine.
No, here's what I'm trying to say. We didn't know what happened, and we can only talk. You can say, should I say hypothetically? Here's the thing. We've seen situations. This is not the first time that you hear a manager will leave at the end of the season. We do that, so the whole thing will be less chaotic.
What's the worst that's going to happen? What's the worst that could happen with Frank Lampard coming in as an interim coach?
There's nothing to lose at this point. But we still have a chance to win the Champions League. And do I think?
So what if we don't win the Champions League? What is that down to him, or is that down to the fact that our season has just been not up to quality and we've just been wheel-bound in
I'm coming. If we don't win it, there will still also be question. People will still be saying they've left it in a manner that people will still be saying, had we gone for this manager, had the manager come in immediately, there's a chance we win it.
That doesn't make sense because you're now you're breaking it on. You're putting it back on Lampard. If we had
I'm not putting on. The whole question is the owners mainly.
Okay.
The decision of the owners mainly. I have nothing against Lampard, but I'll always reference his record as a manager.
Cool.
Because we have to.
Football. The owners don't know all about football and they're learning on the job. Can we accept that?
Yeah, that's it. You've always said that. And one thing I give you credit for, you've always said it was going to be a long season. Let me try and catch up with what we have in the chat before it grows too much. Let's see what we have. Chimera says, the little hope I had in beating Madrid went straight out of the window. Chelsea might as well forfeit the match and award Madrid the win in both legs. Here's the thing. I'm going to say this. The game has not been played. Even if tomorrow we say, let's say, who's the worst manager I've ever known? But even if you bring in FBB and say, okay, I don't think even if Graham Potter stayed, I would still say we have a chance to beat them until the game is played and the man in the middle blows the final whistle. But we have questions now. Do I think the chances of us beating them has reduced? I would say yes. Graham Potter has a better Champions League record than Frank Lampard. He took us through the group stage to the quarterfinal stage, and look where we're at now. To the second round and where we're at now.
The same thing last season before Tuchel.
No, it was where did Frank stop? Where did he stop?
He got sacked in January. He got
where were we at what level in the Champions League were we?
We had qualified before he got sacked. He was in the league. It was after Leicester.
But where are we now?
Pardon?
Where are we now? We're in the quarterfinal stage. Did he take us to the quarterfinal stage?
But we didn't sack him. We're at the stages of the season. We're at April. We're in unprecedented time.
That's what I'm saying. But no matter how you say it, it still didn't happen. That's my point. It still didn't happen. I get it. There's a chance had he stayed, he would have taken us beyond that level.
This is interim for a reason. And I think we are a victim of we're being spoiled by our own past here. Because we've seen interims come in, or we've seen managers come in and win trophies off the back of being replacing managers. We now automatically think it's a given, whether it be what's his face, Chris Hiddink in 2009 when he won FA Cup, whether it be Di Matteo winning Champions League, whether it be, albeit he did sign as a manager, but albeit even Thomas Tuchel coming in at the second half of the season and us winning the cup, we almost think it's a given, and we're always like, oh yeah. Oh,
no, it's not a given, and we're here to have that conversation. That's why we have a show.
100%.
Just give me a few minutes. Let me catch up with the chat. But again, we all love our club. We all love Chelsea. That's why we have these conversations. And there's no chance we all agree. If we all agree that something is not right, I cannot believe people had hope of beating Madrid under Potter. Well, never say never. Even if you Glenn is hired as the manager tomorrow, there's still a chance we'll beat them. Madrid under Potter, they would give it their all and lose 5-0.
Exactly.
That's hilarious.
I'm not saying we would have lost or won, but you lot would have been angry that Donny's not on the pitch galvanizing, or he's saying that the boys gave everything. There would have been so many question marks. A popular opinion, but Frank Lampard is the exact person you need leading out against Real Madrid. Excuse my French. Because when you see Lampard, Champions League winner, when you see that guy coming out on air, you think, yeah, it's on, it's game time. I will have more confidence with Frank Lampard leading the lads out at Madrid than I will have Graham Potter. I didn't want Potter gone. I wanted him to get the time he needed to change the squad. But if you ask me,
I could sense when you spoke after his sacking, I could sense you weren't happy that he was sacked.
No, I was just there. That was my emotion, but that was the situation we find ourselves in. But again, if you were to ask me, who would I want to see coming out Champions League, Madrid? I want to come out with Potter or Lampard. Please, I would like to walk behind Frank Lampard because, albeit, with all due respect, he's only part of the team that won the first ever Champions League for the squad. He was part of the winning team that's won it first ever time. He was there. So I think if anyone that knows how to do it, it's him. With all due respect, even if it is as a player. So I would like to have him as my gaffer moving forward until the end of the season, until they bring in either Nagelsmann, Enrique, Mourinho, me, Barney the Dinosaur, TikTok CEO, anybody that's credible to manage the club. Let Lampard take it on from now until they bring in someone in the summer. That's what I'm saying.
Let me catch up with the chat again. Chimera, you say that you say that on face of Lampard and he will smack you. What you said? And he will smack you. Let's worry less about result in that game and be real. Lampard is the best. Okay. Housekeeping. I think he commands respect, but there are other concerns also. but there's no guarantee that's the case. Like I said to somebody on Twitter, his medals didn't take him anywhere at Everton. There's more to managing the club than your medals. He's an excellent player. As a player, he was excellent. He was one of the best in the world at that time. But in his managerial career, I don't think. To me, I still say I don't think he's good. He's a good manager. I hope he works. It could be a well-calculated risk, and he ends up winning the Champions League. But Frank Lampard at Chelsea and Frank Lampard at Everton are frankly different. Yeah, now you're sounding like a rapper. He has better crop of players, to be honest. I hope he works out, really. Every manager has been sacked and it has been sacked and being crap. Don't judge by stats, man. Ranieri was sacked from Thessaloniki. I don't know. I can't try to pronounce that name. After 1 month, appointed at Leicester City with a similar outcry, and he won Premier League. Like I said, that doesn't. But again, it gives you judge. How do I say this to make sense? Here's the thing. But the outcry was there until proven otherwise, and I have questions until proven otherwise. Same as the question I had when Graham Potter was still the manager. I had questions, and I kept saying until he proves me wrong. Hopefully, he's learned from this mistake. There's a chance. Like I said, Frank Lampard has multiple. Again, he has serious motivation for myriad of reasons. One, he wants to he would want to get his career back on track. Two, again, this is Chelsea, really, and I agree. He loves Chelsea. He's a Chelsea legend, and probably that's another motivation for it. But more importantly, he gets paid too, and he gets a chance to win the Champions League. Because if you ask him, he will tell you he can win it. He's a very confident guy. If you've heard him speak before, but that's, by the way, we move on from that. Let's see what else I have here. I don't want this grow too long. Then it would take too much time to catch up. We're getting relegated. I don't think that will happen. It just seems like the whole thing, again, it's a circus now, the way I said it before. I hope I changed my mind on that. Let's see what else we have here. I think maybe their first choice, Nagelsmann, is still employed to Bayern. He's still employed to Bayern. That's I think we've heard that before. He's still on their books. So that compensation fee is a stumbling block. Bayern most likely to fire Julian Nagelsmann officially when the season ends. Maybe if they want to fire him, they should fire him now. Let him go. It's as simple as that. Olupo says, lower your expectations so that you wouldn't be disappointed. Good morning to you. You keep telling us that, and I think we should do that.
The last time I said that, I got hounded in the summer. I am Chelsea FC. I will never lower my expectations. But Jesus, we are now 11th. We are not getting Champions League next year. What are you going to do now? Your expectations are now low. Hopefully next year we're going to win the goddamn league. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he couldn't even unite Alonso, Rudiger, Jorginho, and co, and is now gonna make this work. Are we so short-memored? Here's the thing. That's a strong argument, but we learn. It'd be stupid not to have learned from the mistake he made then. I think he's a smart guy. Hopefully he's learned. I want my club to do well. That's the most important thing here. New manager bounce again against Wolves. Yeah, we're in the trenches. Maybe it will happen. They have decided who they want for the job. CFC is willing to patiently wait for Nagelsmann because Enrique is ready to get going. I'm not sure what to make of that. Let's talk about Benzema and Vinicius and how they are going to do unspeakable things to us. I'm not going to get into that, but I think it's not over until it's over. Until the game is played, I'm not going to say we're losing to Madrid, no matter who the manager is. Chelsea is a club I support. Lam's appointment shows that the owners doesn't know what they are doing at all. It's all scary to me now, what plans they have for the club. Poor appointment, even though it's Lam's. Respect to him. Here's the thing. Let's just see it from the perspective that there's nothing to lose. Hopefully, we get one more point, and you say we'll never get into a relegation fight. But this is the Premier League; anything can happen. So I'm really concerned. It's really is on the owners. Graham Potter had to be fast. Yeah, there's no way on earth Graham Potter told Todd Bowley, bring me Enzo and Modric. Good argument. Does Paulie think the fans are a joke? I don't know. Maybe you should ask him that question yourself. So what is that all about? Just buying a superstars of a short sales, a nice project. Yeah, questions again are emerging right now with regards whether they did sign those players, whether again whether Graham Potter had requested for those players and then went and got them. That's the question you have to ask. You'll be asking now because that's a lot of money spent, and you let the manager you spend the money for go. So I don't understand. Wasn't Frank unbeatable in the Champions League? Was it? No, I don't think so. First of all, I remember we lost to Ajax. I remember we lost, I think, one more game. I don't remember which one, but that's not the list of my concerns, really. Should a rebrand to murky water instead of clear water? Or did he lose one game in the Champions League? I think he did well in the Champions League overall.
That was his first season, lads.
Yeah, he did well in the Champions League overall. Let's just put it that way.
In his second season, he did. Yeah.
Even in the second season, he did well too.
In his first season,
quality-wise,
handed to us by Bayern Munich. Remember?
Yeah.
That was it. Then his second season, he kind of did all right, but obviously the league was in shambles.
Yeah. Quality-wise, not gonna lie, it's a better manager than Lampard. But he's just an interim. People need to relax. But here's where the whole push is coming from. The fact that people thought they were gonna again bring in the new manager immediately because we still have a chance in the Champions League, if that makes sense. Let's see. What is this settle for? Let's lower your standards. Spursy weak mentality. Am I hearing on this panel? Lampard is the bottom of the barrel. Benzema is rubbing hands right now, and Pep is laughing. Let's get to that. Again, here's the thing. Let's get to play Real Madrid first, and let's see what happens. If that makes sense. Claire Fakes calls them. I really blame the owners for sacking Thomas now.
June. So
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, just to complete the beautiful game. He's only here for an interim. He's not here for life. He's not here past June. So what mentality?
But do you understand my explanation as to where
the squad has? Let me land. Sorry, the squad has had a weak mentality all bloody year. The mentality of the squad has been needy. Like, what are we saying? The squad has been done out here. Our expectations has lowered due to player performances, due to managerial changes, however, the standards has been low, bro. It can't get lower than this, my guy. Lampard coming in is the only beaming light. He's a legend. He's the only person that knows the club. We haven't had a manager that knows the club since him. So he's coming in an interim. It's not going to go past June. Relax, it's fine. It's not that deep.
But do you understand my explanation as to where
June,
that?
After
go ahead.
After June, they're going to get an elite manager. Yeah. So an elite manager coming in June will debunk those low standards you're talking about. Because if you get a manager that has won it before or played with big players before, then where's the weak mentality coming from? You can't have a weak mentality in the space of 3 months. How about if they're gonna bring in a new manager, an elite gaffer to replace the one they just brought, which they did a mistake on, and in the meantime they're gonna bring an interim. Where is the weak mentality? But the squad, but from September till now, it's been strong mentality. Is that what we're saying? The mentality has been very, very strong till then. Oh, when they spent 600 mil, when they were in Benfica, trying to rip Rui Costa's head off to get, with that weak mentality. Let's not pick and choose to suit a narrative that fit our mindset. Let's be objective here. They're going to bring in a big boy manager to make sure that our team is secured. They're going to do it. But before they do that, they need to bring in someone that can hold the fort. I don't think Enrique is coming in on an interim or now. I don't think they're ready right now to come in interim. Let them get an interim for now. What if it was good to think? It's only because it's Lampard that we're calling this low standards or what have you.
No.
Let's be realistic.
Our standards
were low from the beginning of the season. Our standards were low from the beginning of the season. For when we let Southampton come to the bridge and move to us, our standards were low. For when we went to St. Mary's in the beginning of the season and we allowed Bella Kocha, Roman Lavia to run ragged through us, that's when the standards were low, bro. So don't come here and tell us our standards are low. Now we're bringing Lampard and we whine. What are we picking and choosing here?
No,
I just wanted to bring
here's
that
the
up.
thing. Let me say this quickly. They're entitled. Everybody, we're all entitled to our opinions,
I
and
know.
we
I'm not
present
saying no
counter
one's
opinions.
entitled to that. Let me not misconstrue that. I'm just trying to
Hmm.
challenge that point. When you say
Yeah,
we have a
exactly.
weak
Yeah, we just challenged the
mentality,
point.
I'm just
And I
challenging
hope
it.
you
But when we say
understand
we
my
have a weak mentality,
explanation.
our mentality has been weak from the beginning of the season. So
Yeah.
I don't think this is any different to or more than what we are going through. I mean, I don't see the big. Oh my God, we're in crisis. We've been in crisis, guys. That's what I'm saying. So let's just, Lampard coming in. I hope he does well. I'm optimistic and I'm a bit skeptical because of his previous track record. But hey, and he knows the club in it. I'm gonna give him that shout. And I know that by June, Enrique or Nagelsmann, whoever is gonna come in and take it from there. Let's go.
Yeah, I hope you understand where, again, you could say the resentment is stemming, where it stems from. The fact that a lot of people, the theory was that we're going to get in, again, an established manager to help us win the Champions League, and probably the manager. And I subscribe to that theory that the manager will come in before our game against Real Madrid and maybe help us beat them. I think that's where the resentment is coming from. Had it been that, okay, we've already been knocked out of the Champions League, and then Frank Lampard comes in as a caretaker manager, I don't think there will be much outcry in the size we're seeing right now. I think that's where the whole resentment stems from. I see Madueke Cook on the Nagelsmann. I see that I see that Mike Kachila. I see Madueke over Modric. He will make him to be worth 50 to 60 million after one season. Wow. Okay. But Eugene, more importantly, nice to see you. Anyone could win the 2012 Champions League with the team we had. They were real men. There's some solid argument right
Anyone,
there.
all right, that's your opinion, bro. Anyone could have won it. Yet we were against the Real Madrid team. We defended our whole lives at the Nou Camp before we could score the counter to break free. So anyone could have beaten with Barcelona, the best Barcelona team at that period. We went down. We were against the odds at Bayern Munich. Come on, man. We were underdogs that bloody year. Our season was a bloody reflection. AVB put us in the mud to our record, our lowest finish under Abramovich era. What are we talking about? Not anyone could have won that squad. Our squad was aging. It took passion. It took somebody that took it away from football and made human mentality for them to take it away from and win that it wasn't, oh yeah, anyone could have won the Champions League with that squad. That is so blasé. You can only say that in hindsight because we did it. You can only say that in hindsight because we won in 2021. So don't give me that palaver, I beg.
Okay, yeah, so I'm going to try and catch up with the chat this time and move on. I love him, but this guy, literally a true Roman under the bus. I think that some people are still bitter about that comment when he was interviewed during his, I don't know if one of his interviews at Everton, where he denied he said something to the effect of he hardly spoke to Roman. But let's move on from that. But that's, by the way. Let's see what we have here. Big up to you, to Eugene. I'm going to try and catch up with everybody that I haven't read in their comment. Coachella, please take a deep breath in Excel. Now, give a thought to fact. We have a close to 0% chances of winning UEFA Champions League, even without Lampard. Now, calm down and enjoy the Super Frankie vibes. Here's the thing. I like Frank Lampard. And his tenure, his first reign as a Chelsea manager wasn't all bad. I think his biggest problem started when we signed new players. I think he has a chance. Again, you could say he did a lot of good. He helped us make it to the top 4 when people think we weren't going to make it to top 4 and all that. But there's still a lot he has to learn. But that's, by the way, his thing. I'm just saying, and maybe I'm one of those that subscribed to the idea of getting a new manager in, let them come in before the Real Madrid game, play a few games, and then maybe be ready to beat Real Madrid. And do I think he's capable of outsmarting Carlo Ancelotti? I'd say no, but never say never. This is football. Maybe he's learned a trick or two that will help us overcome Real Madrid, and boom, we're in the semifinals. It could happen. After on the 2 occasions that we've won the Champions League, we were the underdogs, no matter how you see it. So yeah, but we're here to talk about it. Alonso, Rudiger, and Jorginho are all gone. Like I said, he's literally facing an entirely new team, except for a few faces there that he knows, like Reece James, Mount. Who again is there? A few of them he still knows as
still there.
Sorry?
Kepa.
Kepa is still there. Mendy is still there. Some again, you could say, I don't know the percentage, but I'm not going to do that calculation right now. Big up to you, Santiago Munoz. I hope you're doing well. Mount starting every single game. Hope you're happy. He did well under Frank, so maybe he knows how to get the best out of him. But let's keep going here. Let's see what else we have. What else do we have here? Big up to you too, Martin. Oh, Kachila, big up to you too, Chelsea all the way. Big up to everyone that I haven't said hello to. Lampard, really, yeah, it has happened. If you support Chelsea, you have to support him. But we're here to have the conversation, the pros and the cons. But we get to that in a bit. I'm just trying to say hello to everybody. More importantly now, Lampard and Mason Mount, we're finished. Potter, you have to change your avatar now. Move on beyond Potter, but nice to see you. I'm going to do fasting for Kante and Enzo to have strength and a good day at Real Madrid both games. I hope they do, and please do fast for them. Thank you so much for saying that. You love the club that much. I appreciate that. And Gallagher, good players. They're not the best, but they're good. This volley guy is the biggest joke of an owner in football. Okay, we'll move on from that one. Mason Mount is the winner of this. Maybe. I heard Chelsea contacted Portuguese coach. I didn't know that. Bielsa too. And Nuno Espirito. Well, let them interview us against many managers as they want and make sure they pick the best. That's all I'm concerned about. If that makes sense. Let's see what else we have here. They could say to us, the Potter is getting end of the season. Okay, he's here after the summer. Then one of the two will come in for a year or 2, 3, a short-term contract. It's not going to be a long-term contract this time. But here's one thing I want to let you know. If he wins the Champions League, I think he keeps the job. Like I said, he's a smart guy. You'll probably ask him, what if I'm able to win the Champions League? Yeah, and I think it only makes sense if he wins the Champions League for him to keep the job.
No, if he wins the Champions League, you've got a Champions League medal as a player and the manager, and you've got it for the club as well. Well done, thank you. You've re-cemented yourself. You've actually re-cemented yourself as not just a legend, but a legend as a manager. Yeah, so yeah, and we'll take that.
So you don't think that's a clause on that contract that will say if he wins it, he keeps it?
Categorically. No, there is no bloody clause in that contract saying Lampard, if you win Champions League, you can sign a new.
But you agree that's an assumption on its own.
Okay, I could agree that's an assumption, yes. But I can say I can honestly, hands on, I can almost put money on it that Frank Lampard win Champions League, he ain't signing no bloody 2-year, 4-year deal. No. We've got due diligence to get the right man that's going to take us forward, and that is not Frank Lampard. In the interim, right now. He is right now just to see out the season and go for it. If we want to go for it in the Champions League, why not just go for it? I mean, yeah, it makes a good story towards the end of the season. It kind of looks PR very friendly. You know what I mean? It looks good, but I don't think history will repeat itself in a situation where Di Matteo wins us our first Champions League title ever and he gets a contract. I think that the circumstances are completely different. Obviously, then Di Matteo won us our first ever Champions League, ever. We'd never seen it before as a club, so I think it would have been a bit harsh to kind of sling it up after they'd done that, especially at the circumstances we found ourselves in.
If you were Lampard in that situation, wouldn't you ask for such clause?
Why would I? If I'm coming in as an interim, I'm interim.
If you're confident with yourself, if I'm hiring, I'd like somebody to tell me, look, I'm capable of winning this. But if I win it, are you going to give me the job?
But that's a big. I mean, boy, you must back yourself so hard for you to put that as a clause. Like, I'm coming in. Yeah. By the way, if I win that Champions League, give me a contract. Yeah, boy, I think you have to back yourself big time to go against Carlo Ancelotti and/or the prospect of going against Tuchel or Pep Guardiola for a place in the final. Boy, you have big bollocks for that. And if Frank Lampard put that down, anything, I'll be very, very surprised. Again, I'll be very, very surprised. I don't think that'll be in his nature. I think he wants to do this because he sees the club is actually in a situation where it needs a little bit of kicking up the arse, and maybe he may be able to put that energy in again and moving forward. So the next manager coming in the summer, or when he's done, take it forward perfectly. And I do not think he's signing even if we win the Champions League, yeah, Lampard, thank you very much. You know what? You're not even a legend as a player anymore. You're a legend as a manager. Have that, yeah? And you got that on your CV. So the next job you go to is not just going to be at an Everton level. It's going to be a bit higher because you know what you're doing. And yeah, everyone's a winner. We got another Champions League, 3 Champions League medals or titles. Arsenal got none, Tottenham got none. Yeah, I'll live with that. What? It's not every day. It's not every day, oh yeah, because you win the Champions League, now fine. No. Let's keep it sweet. Let's just keep it as it's supposed to be. Let's get the right gaffer. Be it Nagelsmann, be it Enrique, be it Mourinho, whoever they feel, Vivell, Win Stanley, all these man, whoever they feel is the right person for the job moving forward, let them do that. Let's not be carried away by one-off prize, lucrative as it may be, of the big ears and say, oh yeah, because of that, you now deserve. No. Lampard, you ain't been here from the beginning. You don't know the structure like so. Yeah, just do what you're doing right now and take it from there. In the summer, we're going to get someone to replace you. Alhamdulillah.
All right, I'm going to read just one comment, and I'll bring in Bobby immediately. I know he's at work now that I have. I know again, he's on there. Probably has a bit of time to speak. One thing that we get from Lampard, which no one manager would have been capable of right now, is this a stronger mentality. You can't take that away from him. Even as a coach, he was very confident. This guy got Everton relegated, and now Shandaish is saving them. Okay. Here's the thing, Bobby. I don't know if you're there. Your thoughts on Lamp being hired as an interim manager, caretaker manager. Let's be clear. It's not been hired on a permanent basis. He's there to help. You could say hold the fort, or maybe again just take care of the club until the club gets a permanent manager. Bobby, are you there, or should I go ahead? I'll keep going until you're ready to talk. You can come in, brother. Okay, there you go. Big up, bro. I always look at your mic to see whether it's still muted or not. Your thoughts on Lampard in as a interim manager or caretaker manager, if you prefer. We were thinking, I think lots of people were thinking, I think that's where the backlash is stemming from, thinking that we're going to bring in, that Roman Abramovich approach to fire a manager, bring in a manager in quickly, even how it doesn't matter how many games there's left. We were thinking that a permanent manager was going to come in immediately and help us win it. That's not saying Lampard cannot do it, but your thoughts, given that he recently was fired from Everton just 2 months ago, and how it went, 27 win percentage at Everton. Your thoughts, Bobby?
Yeah, big up, guys.
Big up to you, brother. More importantly, apologies.
Yes,
who are we
Bobby.
with? I can't see the name. Is that IBZ? Who's that?
That's IBZ, yeah.
IBZ. Wow, IBZ, you've done us proud, really. Coach, yeah, everybody's entitled to their opinion, absolutely. But I think part of our job here on the panel is to push back foolishness. And boy, IBZ has really done that today, because sometimes we get a lot of foolishness. And it will continue to happen. That's what these things are about. But it doesn't mean to say we've got to sit down and applaud it. And, IBZ's right in everything he's said so far. I look at, sorry, what was your question again? That's crazy. What is
the
it?
question is why Frank Lampard? Because I'm sure even you, correct me if I'm wrong, we were all thinking, I think the pushback overall stems from the fact that the hopes were the new manager, either Enrique or Nagelsmann, comes in immediately and we still have a chance with regards to our game, quarterfinals games against Real Madrid. We're thinking they were going to come in, play one game or two, or maybe even a game, or even that game in particular, start from there to help us beat Real Madrid. Because the question is Frank Lampard capable of beating Ancelotti? I don't think he is, but it's a possibility. He's a coach.
It's
go ahead.
It's all speculation, isn't it? I mean, an initial mistake was made, whether rightly or wrongly. And every mistake has consequences, and even and a process to correct the consequences of that mistake and move forward. And this is what we're in the process of doing. Sorry?
And you don't want to repeat of the mistake you've made.
Well, you want to try and avoid it, and this is what these people are doing. Nothing is guaranteed. You can't say for certain that things will happen. I laugh at people trying to draw the analogy, and IBZ's right. Because Di Matteo came as an interim ex-player and manager and suddenly won the Champions League, people are even thinking, trying to equate that to Lampard. I mean, it's very possible, but we can't analyze things like that. The Champions League, winning it, we're still quite a way off from doing that, but we just have a chance. And once you're in it, you have a chance, and we have to do our best to win it. Look, we get people saying these things, and they think, running a football club is like waking up in the morning and having your breakfast. It's a very difficult and complex undertaking, and it's not straightforward. You can't just say, oh, we're going to just pick this person, and because this person has a name and is said in the media to be elite, that we should suddenly throw them into the club when the season's nearly over. We've got, a huge game against Real Madrid. They don't know the players. These people have their reputation to try and protect, and not everybody, and it's clearly looks like probably none of them really want to be in that position. They'll rather start from the beginning, especially when they're so close to the end of the season. So selecting this person, what they've decided to do, the ownership and the directorship have decided to take their time and to scour everybody, unlike the way they picked Graham Potter, which was rather rushed. They just picked someone. They said, oh, he fits the bill, the stats could be right, have a little chat with him, and then they appoint him. No, this time they want to go through all the so-called elites that are interested, that are available, and make their pick from there. Come the summer, there'll be other clubs looking for managers, and I think that's helpful to know, because if you've got somebody who's not really that keen on coming and wants to go elsewhere, perhaps it is good to leave it till summer to see who's who. For example, the way and enthusiasm Enrique has shown towards the club, to me, puts him in good stead. Does it mean he'll get the job? Well, we'll have to see what the others have to offer. So I am all for what they've done. And just as IBZ said, because it's Lampard, if it had been good Hiddink as the interim, fewer people would have had an issue with it. But because it's Lampard, people are coming up with all this resentment. I don't know. I'm indifferent. I have no issue with it at all. We needed to do something. Clearly, Bruno Salter, he survived against Liverpool. He did well, but for the rest of the season,
he didn't want the job, they said.
No, he didn't, because he understands. He's just starting out in his coaching career. If he starts out falling flat on his face, having taken on something that he's not even near ready to take on, it would be a disaster. So he quite rightly has welcomed an interim. At least Frank has some experience. Coupled with the fact that he knows Chelsea, he's an ex-Chelsea boy, he has every reason himself personally and for his career to take on the job, and every motivation to do well, because if he does well, it sets him up to get another chance at having a top club. Whereas after the Everton mess, he really was in the doldrums, and most people wouldn't approach him. I don't think very few Premier League clubs will come anywhere near him after Everton, especially the top clubs. But if he does well at Chelsea,
it's not a good thing to have on your resume.
No, he didn't do that well. But if he does well at Chelsea, and if, please God, he manages to do the Champions League and win it, then he will be hot potato. Is he the right person to continue at Chelsea after that? No, I don't think so. I think the project has to be in stable hands, has to be in mature hands, has to be in experienced and capable hands, because the winning must be consistent year in, year out, just like Pep Guardiola is doing at Man City. And the winning must be commensurate with the level of investment that has gone into playing staff and to sustain us through the move to a new stadium, and any distraction that may come out of that, if we're moving to Earl's Court, which I'm very, very much for, and I think the government owe us that opportunity, then we'll be fortunate enough to remain at Stamford Bridge and play until we get there, until that's done. But if we have to move out of Stamford Bridge to redevelop it, and if, the government also owe us that opportunity, if that's the case, then we'll have to move elsewhere. And we definitely need a solid coach to be able to get the team to perform elsewhere, because as we've seen, that can be a huge distraction to a club from the clubs that have had that happen to them. We've seen how detrimental that can be to their performances. So, I don't think what they've done is wrong. I know, scandal sells. I really believe there are people in the Chelsea fan base that love the seasonal scandal that comes out of Chelsea. They fuel it.
It makes it interesting, don't it?
Well, it doesn't to me. I don't find it interesting at all.
Painful.
I wish it didn't happen. I'd rather be focused on the pitch. But, they love it. They like to, add fuel to it, criticize the ownership, go on Twitter, oh, these owners, this, that, oh, this. It's pathetic, really, because to me, that's not being a fan. That's just being, these modern scandal people. Everything has to have a scandal. Everything has to be unsavory before you can enjoy what's going on. And it's no longer the sport. But there you go. We've got all sorts of weird things happening these days. And
Go ahead. I wanted to ask you something else, but go ahead.
Yeah, you can ask.
What I wanted to ask you is this, and Eugene just said something. I've asked IBZ that question. He says in just carry a Frank Lampard big permanent deal in the future. So the question is, you think, because Frank is a smart guy, and I still think that he wouldn't take this job. I get it, he loves the club. I get it, it's an opportunity to polish his resume or get a fresh start at his managerial career. You think he wouldn't ask for any sort of, tell them, okay, I can, because he has to be interviewed. Because they won't just bring him in thinking he's going to lose to Real Madrid, but let's just use him. I don't think that would be the case. I think probably they'd interview him. Yeah, definitely. I think he'd probably tell them, I can win the Champions League. And I'm thinking, do you think there'll be some sort of clause on his contract that says, if I win it, I'm keeping the job, at least for 2 more years or 3?
There will be no such contract. That's an absolute nonsense. To be an interim coach means you're just that, interim. You're not quite the mustard. That's what it means. You're not what we're looking at, but you're good enough to hold the fort because you're somebody that we can rely on. Now, if he wins the Champions League, fantastic. Does it mean he should continue? Well, if his performances are excellent and, he does it in an extraordinary way, then of course the club might think, oh, this guy's already here. And then they might offer him that. But for him to demand it, they wouldn't take him on in the first place. The reason he's there is for them to breathe and select from the spectrum of capable candidates. It's not for them to corner themselves into somebody who could just about manage to pull something off. Winning the Champions League, there's an element of luck involved in that, as there is with any of such endeavor. You can just come and do something extraordinary, like Robbie Di Matteo did in our club. I don't remember, I don't think any other club has actually done that to my memory. So that was quite an extraordinary thing. And because it was our first, Roman, and because he was an ex-player, and also all the noise from the media and the fans, Roman gave him an opportunity to continue. But, he found the job too big, and eventually he had to go because results weren't going favorably, and Roman had no time to play around with the club results. So no, there can't be such a clause. It would be a ridiculous thing to agree to. It would even be a ridiculous thing to ask. He'll automatically be putting himself in a position where his reputation as a person and as a manager will be tarnished. There's an element of humility you have to come into these things, and an element of I will prove myself rather than I demand. That's quite presumptuous. And honestly, if I was an owner and somebody came to me with that, I'll look at him and I'll just say, mate, what do you think you're doing? There you are on your bike.
And if you remember, in the case of Di Matteo, he wanted you could say, I don't know, you could say, you could argue that Roman succumbed to the pressure from the fans to give him an extension because he wanted, and the fans fell in love with him.
He did, because he's, as an ex-boy, he'd won loads of trophies as a player, just like Frank. He won our first Champions League. The euphoria of that day was, and rightly so, it was tremendous. We had gone for years. It was the holy grail for us. We tried for many years to get there. And eventually we got there. All the players as well had gone through a lot of heartache, a lot of dubious officiating, what happened at Moscow. So he himself would have just thought, okay, let's just give this guy another go. But this is not the case at all. It's not the case. And the whole build-up, unless, Frank really, really does something exceptional.
Then you see similar pressure.
Yeah, goes to the Bernabeu and wins 10-0, and blows apart either Bayern Munich and Man City, then suddenly goes in the Premier League without losing or drawing or conceding a goal. Then gets to the final of the Champions League against whoever and wins it convincingly, then of course people would sit back and think, should we give him a shot? Because it's just an extraordinary performance. Then that would be a consideration, and he would be included in the permanent interview selection, and a decision would be made. But that's unlikely to happen, and that's not something that you put that cart before the horse and start making that demand.
Yeah. Thank you for explaining that. But one thing is sure, you agree the chances there, but it has to take some extraordinary performance from him and the team for the fans to start pressuring the owners to keep him. And the owners also, probably you could argue that they'd be inclined to keep him if he does so well, because it wouldn't make any sort of sense going for someone else. Keeping a player who's Chelsea through and through, a manager who's Chelsea through and through, played for the club, won it with the club, won it as a manager too, is worth keeping. If that happens at the end of the season, I have my doubts until proven otherwise. But thank you, Bobby. That's how I always like to have you on the panel.
Yeah, if I could just add, that will be his motivation, isn't it? That is what will get him up in the morning and push the team. Because at the moment in the league, we don't really have anything much to play for as such. And he will have to then, if he can get the players performing under those circumstances and do, that's the onus of his job and why he was put in that position at all. So he has to strive for that. And in striving for that, he may get somewhere towards that, which is the whole thing behind it. But, giving him that guarantee, I mean, there are people that don't. When Di Matteo came, everybody wanted him. Right now, not everybody wants Frank. So it's a totally different situation.
Yeah, I agree with you. Big up everyone. I go to bed, Luis Enrique in London, and Conte in discussion to wake up to Lampard being signed up. Say what you say has happened. We have to move on from it. And I like the most important thing. I got in the case when IBC spoke is this. It's just interim. But I know, Bobby, if we're being honest, I think the whole thing stems from the fact that the thinking was that a new manager was going to come in, and be the one to lead us against Real Madrid. I think that had it been that we're already out of the Champions League, I don't think a lot of people will be complaining right now. What do you think?
Yeah, but that thinking was fans thinking. The ownership never told you that. Do you know what I mean? It's fans. That's what I'm saying. As fans, we create these stories and scenarios almost as if they're real. We start to get delusional. Oh, this is what they're going to do. And we're not in their heads. We don't sit at board meetings. We don't sit in the directorships planning meetings. They never said anything of the like. It was fans that assumed that, oh, they're after, what's that guy? Nagelsmann. They're after Enrique. It's not. Nagelsmann needs that mental rest. We said this yesterday. So he wasn't keen. He's keen on the Chelsea job. He likes the idea, but he would rather just rest until the summer. Enrique, who looks like he wants to start tomorrow, is probably thinking, okay, that's good. Well, I've made my case. Let me step back. And as I step back, I'll use this opportunity and keep studying the team. He's already said that throughout the season, he hasn't been watching Spanish football. He's been watching English football. So that's a good thing. I believe, just like in all interviews, once everybody has been interviewed, the selected candidate is often told quietly that they've been selected and just told when to make it public news. So if this is just hypothetical before fans go and start carrying it that, oh, the guy is already selected, Nagelsmann, he knows, that thing, that's nonsense. But if that's the way, and if they have told a candidate, let's say next week after they've interviewed everybody, say, listen, mate, we've interviewed everybody. We would like to offer you, because we need to know if the person's going to accept. Say, look, we would like to offer you the job. Are you going to accept? And the person says, wow, yeah, I'm going to accept. They're like, great. This is a informal thing. Your offer is conditional, awaiting us to give you the offer in writing. Can you please keep it to yourself? Go to no media. Congratulations. Welcome to Chelsea Football Club. We'll be in touch, but you need to give us time to inform the others that weren't successful. This is a normal interview process. Then, in the meantime, you can come along and you can sit in so-and-so quietly watching games, or you can come and visit us in training, whatever. I'm just talking hypothetically. This is how it could take shape. So the person could already be appointed, and Lampard won't know. He'll continue his job. Nobody will know. So there's so many permutations to this, and so much flexibility and room for the ownership to finally do their utmost best to select the right person. Is there any guarantee from an elite manager? Not always. As we've known in Chelsea in the past, we had Scolari, who was, you don't get more elite than a national Brazilian World Cup winner. He came and fell flat on his face here. To be fair, the other managers that we got that were elite came and they delivered, because that's why they're elite. So, let's just wait this one out and see how it works, because I don't see much wrong here at all.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that. He just got sacked by Everton, and y'all all think he can win the Champions League. Never say never. I think somebody used an example. Was Zessi the reference? What's his name? The Tinkerman. What's his name again? The Italian. The previous club fired him. He got to
Claudio Ranieri.
Ranieri, yeah, he got to Leicester City. There were outcry. He ended up winning the league with them and all that. Here's the thing. I subscribe to the idea of a new manager coming in immediately, helping us overcome Real Madrid and all that. Do I think Frank is capable of doing that? I don't think so, but he can. There's a chance he can. The game hasn't been played. He's won. I think he's. You've seen, like I said, he started well at Chelsea. The whole thing changed after the new signings came in and all that. He must have learned a thing or two. And I'm not going to judge again. I'm concerned with regards to how badly he did at Everton, but at the same time, we have to give him a chance. We can't change this. We're just here to have the conversation. So thank you so much for that, Bobby. Why give Lampard 9 games when you could give those games to a real manager and call it an extended preseason? That's some argument I've heard from some people, but it doesn't really matter right now. But that's, by the way, I'm going to try as soon as I can. Kachila, win the Champions League and keep the job. Are you trolling or what? Has Chelsea become? He can win it. Did you ever, again, if you were asked in 2012, did you think that what's his name? The Chelsea legend, Di Matteo, did you think he'd win it? I guess no. So that's the thing. I have my questions actually. Y'all all living in Harry Potter world, maybe. Lampard, simple coach, collect clips and receipts are back. I'm not gonna do anything, but I go talk about them. Really, I never thought about Lampard coming back as an interim manager, most especially now with this record at Everton. That's where some of one of the reasons why people are asking that question. Not sure if it's going to bring a positive result, but I guess let's support it. We have to. More importantly, Chelsea is the club we support. The entity will support. Whoever the manager is, we have to support our club. If you have questions, voices, we have a conversation. We're just having a conversation. It doesn't change anything. He will become the interim manager, and like IBC said, he's just here to the end of the season. If he ends up giving the job, if we win the Champions League, blow Real Madrid out of the water, Bayern or whoever, or maybe Manchester City, and we go ahead to win it, fine. There are positives to it, but we'll talk about that specifically in a bit. I'm going to scroll again a few comments, and I'll scroll to the very bottom and bring in people to listen to hear their opinion.
Coach,
people
I have to just step out quickly. I'll still stay on, but I won't be around until another five minutes.
All right, whenever you want to come in. People seem to belittle UEFA Champions League so much here. Winning UEFA Champions League is not easy as visiting your granny. And really, if Lampard wins it, really, you want assurance that he's not there smoking cues you. I get the argument. Back to reality. Yep. Let's see what else we have here. I'm gonna score. Okay, Eddie, your thoughts. Let me get your thoughts. Eddie, your thoughts. Big up. We haven't spoken for a while, brother, but I hope you're well. If you're there, Eddie, your thoughts on Lamps coming in now. Did you expect that to happen, or were you thinking it was going to be either Enrique or Nagelsmann? And maybe you were one of those that subscribed to the idea of the possibility of a new manager coming in and also, overcoming Real Madrid, going on to win the Champions League, or maybe get a chance to get to the final or whatever, to the semifinals maybe. But your thoughts, I want to get your thoughts.
Big up, bro. Big up to everyone. Yeah.
Big up to you too, brother.
Yeah. I mean, it came as a surprise to me, to be honest. I did say that. I didn't see them bringing back Lampard, but I mean, he's got a second opportunity for himself, and I mean, the way he was sacked from Everton would have made him unattractable, but now he has the opportunity to redeem himself, redeem his image, and redeem his profile. So this could be of huge benefit to him as a person, and I want to wish him all the best. But we shouldn't forget the way Lampard handled Chelsea the first time he was here. He fell out with Rudiger, couldn't get Alonso playing, and there was something I noticed then as well. Him and Jody Morris, who was his assistant, didn't seem like there was understanding between them. There was not much communication. Maybe people forgot about that, because if I was watching then when he was there towards this, he wasn't having good communication with Jody Morris, and that could. Then we could see that when he moved to Everton, Jody Morris didn't go with him. He wasn't part of his backroom staff. So he should learn to be a better man manager. I think he has that deficiency, So he should be able to handle, because we got bigger dressing room now than what he met and what he left when he was there the first time. So now he needs to really understand how to put his arm around these players and let them play for him. He's only got a few games in charge. So, but as for him staying longer than the end of the season, well, I don't really see that happening, to be honest, because we should put a background to this. When it happened, Di Matteo's case was different. He was the assistant to Villas-Boas. And when they sacked Villas-Boas, he now took over. So based on that, I mean, it's natural when an assistant takes over from the manager and performs well, just like the case of Di Matteo winning the Champions League. There's only one one way and one decision to make, which was just give him the chance to prove himself, which Abramovich did. But for Lampard, he's been here before. He didn't do too well. He didn't do too badly, but he didn't do very well. He went to Everton, didn't help himself either. So for them to ever think about, say, even if he won the Champions League, they'll give him on the permanent basis, I don't see that really being in the conversation, to be honest. I'll be really surprised. So I don't see, even if he won the Champions League, I don't think it's going to happen, to be honest. So we just wait and see. But hopefully, the other managers that have been interviewed, no one will want to come this late this season. They have their ego to protect as well. They have their thing to protect as well. They don't want to come in and then just have a bad run or don't understand the game. They would rather come in the end of the season, the start of the new season. So to have pre-season and then give understanding and their style of play and then have time with the players and know the other players that are coming in. So I think it's good the way the owners are handling it, interviewing as many as they can, because just like Bobby alluded to, they actually made a mistake the first time, just handpicking Potter without even considering other people. They just went for him and that it was him alone. So they must have felt it was a big mistake on their part not to have given other candidates or looked at, because you think it was just their mind made up about Potter and it was Potter alone. So I think they're trying to avoid that happening again the second time. So they're taking that time and giving themselves a lot of time to take the decision on who to appoint. That's why you can see all names being thrown into the hat now. Mourinho, Conte, everybody just interviewing every one of them. So it's good. Let all of them talk to the owners and then they decide. But I think it's tilting towards Enrique, to be honest. I think Enrique is the one that is most likely to have the job.
Why do you think so?
Yeah, comments we're reading. It's based on not any inside information or anything. I don't have any, but based on what we're reading, if it's anything to go by, it's more of Enrique, because they said they were impressed about his knowledge about the players in there and the way he conducted and the way he gave them what he will do and all. I think it's if it's what we read, Egbadi favors Nagelsmann and some other directors like wants Nagelsmann, but they are thinking about his age, you know. But Enrique, I think the other team, Boli and others as well favor. So there is they have to really sit down to agree on who to settle for at the end of the day, because it's not been unanimous. The decision has not been unanimous. There's been split in the decision on the candidate they feel they want. So we wait and see what will be the final outcome. And I hope they get it right this time, because chopping and changing managers is not good for us, to be honest. It's not good for continuity of the club, uncertainty with the players. The players don't know who the manager is, you know. It's not good. It's not good enough, to be honest.
Let me ask you this, Ed. Let's talk about the positives. What are the positives, really? What are the pros of him coming? I get it. It is at the end of the season. And like I said, I'm going to keep repeating this because I think that's how most people think. I think the thinking was that the new manager was going to come in immediately, because the owners showed it didn't take them 2 seconds to bring in Potter after they fired Thomas Tuchel. So we were thinking and hoping to see the same, but I think they've learned they're no longer in a hurry to hire a manager. They want to look at all the options that would be available to them, especially by the time summer comes. I'm not sure if it stops with just Nagelsmann and what's his name again, Luis Enrique. We've heard they've spoken with Conte. We've heard also they've reached out to Mourinho. So yeah, but your thoughts? What are the positives? And we get it; it's a short term, but what are the positives? Because here's where the whole thing is confusing to me. They fired Graham Potter, and they were willing to give his assistant till the end of the season. He had to say he doesn't want the job. Even that in the first place didn't make any sort of sense. The guy doesn't differ from Potter. Potter is his boss. He's learning from Potter. It's more like firing the boss and keeping the learner and say you take charge. So that doesn't make sense in the first place. But your thoughts are with regards to the question, the positives. Let's talk about the positives right now.
The positive is that Lampard knows the club inside out. He's been there, so he will hit the ground running. He doesn't need anyone to induct him. He doesn't need any introduction. He doesn't need to be showed around where to go and where not to. You know what I mean? He knows exactly where he's going. So that's just the positive, I think. He knows what he's going to do. He knows who the expectations of the fans. He's been a player there before. He's been a manager there before, so he knows exactly. I hope, and I think he just uses it to correct the wrongs that he did the first time. To be honest, so he knows exactly what to do. So it'll be different from having somebody even like Bruno. Bruno wouldn't say, even though he's been there 7 months, he wouldn't be. He won't say he knows the club more than Frank Lampard. To be honest, so Lampard is a better fit for this short-term end of the season contract than any other candidate out there, to be honest. So I think he's going to hit the ground running. He doesn't need any much introduction. And the players will respect him for what he's done for the club and what he did as a manager, and the respect he has for the club and the love he has for the club. So they'll respect him in a way, but he has to love them as well and carry them along. Just as I said before, he fell out with some players. He almost ruined Rudiger's career. Alonso, every one of them, So he has to understand he's got now a bigger dressing room, so he has to be very careful. And then talking about Bruno staying a lot, I think if you remember when Potter was sacked, there was talk about him staying to help in the transition and not trying to go away and blah blah. So maybe that it was part of the discussion just to take Potter out of the picture as the manager and then hold on to that assistant, and then for the game against Liverpool. I think that's been the idea behind him staying. Anyway, I didn't see any sense in them saying he was going to stay to the end of the season when the boss had left, So, but and maybe Potter too might be preparing maybe other jobs he wants to leave. He wants to have the assistant going with him. So it must be a kind of a holistic kind of discussion with them. So.
Good response there. I appreciate that. Rodrigo, how about you? Your thoughts on Frank Lampard coming in as the interim manager? And what do you think are the positives?
Yeah, big up everyone actually. At first, when I heard this news, I thought this is a joke. What are we doing? And then obviously, that's in the first instance. But after you sit down, you think about it, then you start thinking of the positive and why this is not actually as bad as it would have been keeping Bruno. Because Bruno could have stayed here, but he actually doesn't want to stay here. You can clearly hear in his speech, he's like, "Oh no, I miss Graham Potter and all that." So he did want to stay. Because if he wanted to stay, I don't think Lampard would have come in. So getting Lampard in, the positive, obviously, he knows the club, he knows the players. Some of the players that caused him trouble last time he was around are gone. The only one I can think that he fell out with is probably Kovacic and Kepa. But I think those two players are quite professional. I don't think they understand this guy is only going to be here for maximum, say, 14 games if we make it to the Champions League final. Yeah, so it's not going to be, it's not the end of the world. And one thing that Lampard will bring is maybe the players might be feeling down. He'll just almost put them in the place, telling them the season. Obviously, you can't write off the season. We may say that, but for them, they still have things to achieve. Finish as high as possible in the league, making far in the Champions League. You can't do that with a manager like Bruno, who's not really motivated to stay. If Bruno was motivated, if Bruno saw this as an opportunity for him to make a name in football, maybe he would have done it. But obviously, the guy doesn't want to stay here, so it is what it is. The only thing I'm a bit on the fence is knowing this board. I hope they don't think of giving it to Lampard full time. That would be a disaster. So I really hope they continue with the search. It's a good thing they bought themselves more time. They don't want to rush into things. And then it's quite strange after they've interviewed Enrique face to face, and then a few hours later they are appointing an interim manager. So I wonder what maybe Enrique and Nagelsmann probably turn around to them and say, "Listen, we would take this job, but we can't come in now because there's a lot of risk. If you have a Nagelsmann or Enrique come in now, they can ruin the Chelsea career before it even starts. Imagine you come in, there's a large squad, there's a lot of noises around the team. You can work both ways. You can galvanize them, or you can actually come in, you get knocked out by Madrid, and then what? So you start already on the negative things. You want to start fresh from the summer. I understand that. So a lot of managers would not just choose to come in straight away. So they'll want to have their own preseason. Maybe they'll have to say, for example, they announce a manager like what United did before the season end. That manager can sit in the stand, can even have conversation with Lampard, and just on an informal basis on the shape of the squad. So he bought the honest time. I hope they don't go around and interview I was about to say useless managers. They'll go interview people like that Glassman guy. I don't know his name, from Frankfurt, or Bruno Amorim, and all these other people that come up. If they wanna take the time, I'm hearing names like Mourinho. That's positive. I think IBC will probably be happy to hear that they're considering Mourinho. Antonio Conte, maybe no. They should just forget about him. So it gives them time, but they should really narrow down that search of candidate. Personally,
looks like it's expanding by the day.
Yeah, I think it's expanding. I think it's just journalists just adding names just randomly. Personally, I think there are three names really for me. So there is Nagelsmann, Enrique, and Mourinho. Mourinho is obviously for sentimental reason. I never turned down Mourinho coming back for a third time. But the top two should be Nagelsmann and Enrique. And both of them, I'm sure they wouldn't want to come now. They probably want to come in the summer, start implementing the system then, and work toward a good preseason. Only negative with that is there is a Nations League tournament in June. So a lot of the European players will go back to the Nations League to play for in that tournament. I think that is a 1 or 2 weeks, 10 days, I think, tournament. So again, if you start a preseason, or those players will come in late, and again, it's just another mess. This UEFA, man, putting a lot of this tournament in the summer. It's useless tournament. So yeah. So that's enough. Like some players.
Yeah, so let me ask you this: were you one of those that were thinking that the new manager was going to come in immediately with the Champions League quarterfinals game against? So how do you feel that's are you so confident we can still overcome them with Frank Lampard in charge?
No, we're not gonna go anywhere. We get knocked out by Madrid. That's for sure. Even if we go past Madrid, we get knocked out by whoever comes out from the other tie. So I think we threw that away. The owners, they just have to take this big L. They should have fired Graham Potter after the Everton game. Even before that, fair enough, they gave him time, but Everton game, why? Because there is an international break. Could have allowed the new manager some time. At least like what Bayern did with Tuchel. So you have at least a week. I know some players are on international break, but you'll have a week. You have an idea of who's there, but they delayed that. They delayed the sacking till after Aston Villa. It's pretty much impossible. And for managers as well, they have the reputation to uphold. Why would you want to come in this mess? Obviously, as fans, we want them to come in now. But if you think logically, what would Nagelsmann, Enrique, or whoever you want come into this mess? They don't even, from outside in, they might know the profile of the players, but it's different when you're actually on the ground. You know the feeling of the players. You know how psychologically where the players are. So it could be a big mess. So I think it's a good thing for those managers to come in the summer, even though I would have preferred them to be here now. It's just, you know what I mean? If you think logically, why would you do that?
Yeah, I agree with you. But again, you can say most of the reactions we've seen online, people emotions were high. People weren't happy that Lampard. A lot of people, but you could say from the poll here, 55 votes, 67% says Lamps till the end of the season. 32% says a new manager in now. But it depends on who you ask. For me, lots of questions, especially after his stint at Everton. That doesn't help.
Lampard is not a good coach at all. He's not. Lampard is only here. He's a motivational figure now. We just need someone to. He's not.
Yeah, more like it. More like, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. He's someone who has more qualification than Bruno, the guy he has more qualification, and he's a figure. He's a motivational figure that we can have just to keep the season before things implode further. So just to keep the group concentrated and focused. That's all we need from Lampard. Keep them focused for for the remainder of the season. Remind the players that there's still things to fight for. Because if imagine us fans are thinking, oh, the season is a write-off, you don't want the players to feel like that, like, oh, it's a write-off, we can just chill. Because you don't want that. You want them to still stay focused, still come in training, and with the ambition of achieving something, finishing as high as possible. For that, you don't necessarily need a tactician. You need someone that can get into the head and motivate them like that. So I think Lampard can do that. I'm actually going to be looking forward to press conferences at last.
Yeah, I agree with you. Again, yes, there's nothing to lose, but we don't want to end it on a very bad note. We want to salvage as much as we can to finish well. We don't. I know there's the chances of us getting back. I don't see us getting into top 4 anymore. But at least we can win the rest of the games or do well. But I don't know how else to say, but let's get into Emperor. Emperor, your thoughts on the situation. Let me just call it the situation. I'm not going to start by saying what your thoughts on Frank Lampard coming in as the interim manager, what you make of it and all that. What your thoughts on the situation? Pardon my bad manners.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Big up everybody in the panel and the chat. Hope everybody's good. And happy Easter, yeah, to everybody who's celebrating it. Yeah, man. It was a huge left turn because I think everybody was expecting, one of the two managers, and I understand it to a certain extent because I think both of the two managers don't wanna come in right now, and because it's the benefits of coming in right now is that you get the rest of the season, and you implement your style of play. You get more times in terms of preseason in a way. It's not going to be a write-off. Another thing, I think both managers have too much pride in what they do in terms of what they win. So I think they're looking at the situation on some. If I come in now and I win the Champions League, they're going to be like, yeah, but it's tainted by Porter. You got there, you just did the final bit. You get what I'm saying? So it shows a lot in terms of respect for both managers. And then the board getting Lampard, I think it was just a case of saying, look, guys, we can't get one of the two managers, as well as we want to get the right one to fit the project. We cannot just make a rush decision, and bring in somebody, and then later on in the season we're like, we should have went the other way because the other guy fits more than this guy. So I think right now they're trying to evaluate properly on who fits Chelsea properly and the pros and cons of both managers. So we need somebody who can steady the ship, as much as it's not a good appointment, and somebody we re-rate Lampard in terms of the fan base and who he is to Chelsea, in terms of memory and what he gave us as a player. But Lampard as a manager is a total different story, and it's fine. We're just gonna go on vibes right now. And in a way, for Bowley and the management team to take this decision, I think they're just trying to get the fans back on side in a way. Because Lampard is, as much as we hate Lampard managerially, we cannot hate Lampard fully. It just can't as a Chelsea fan. So they're playing on our strings, which is I understand it. They're trying to get back, on our good sides, by promising us one of the best one of two of the best managers out there. But yeah, man, I understand the appointment. The question is, are we expecting anything? I think for Chelsea fans, it's just when we looked 3 weeks back, we were thinking, oh, Real Madrid, okay, I think the players are gonna turn up. We might do something. There's a little bit of hope. It was 99% faith and 1% logic. You get what I'm saying? So now, when we saw Potter just derailing a week after week, and we're like, nah, we ain't coming out of that match alive. And the board saw the same thing. They're like, it doesn't matter. Even if it's 99% faith, this guy, the players is just slowly not, supporting what he's trying to do. So, look, Lampard might just give us, that whole hoorah, guys. I know the fabric of this club. I know what winning is. I've won the Champions League, and it's just going to create a dynamic. I'm expecting a huge dynamic in that boardroom. I mean, in that dressing room, because some of the players, they've already played at the Lampard, and some of them, have mixed feelings about Lampard, because it's not like 2 seasons ago he was at Everton. It was literally a couple of months ago. So it's a lot. It's a lot in terms of what the players are gonna, see out of Lampard. But there's a huge respect as well, because this is the guy who's a Chelsea legend. Like, you cannot disrespect that. And if you wanna be, sang in the same light as him in terms of players, you need to, listen to whatever he has to say. So yeah, it's a very difficult appointment to take, but yeah, it's a painful one to take. Yeah, sorry about the noise. But yeah,
No
man. Look, 10 games left. We don't know how many left in the Champions League. I think it's just vibes. I think we just enjoy and see which players need to be here and which players, not supposed to be here. So for both managers that are coming in, one of those two managers, which I fully think is one of those two, I think it's a good way, because they're going to look from a distance like, oh, I can fix this, I cannot fix that. Oh, is this really a good project for me? Or am I just reaching because I will need a job? Or, you get what I'm saying? Where can I take Chelsea in the next, few years? Am I that guy? You get what I'm saying? And for the board to sit back and say, look at, like, with time, like, you get to see a lot of things that you didn't see, immediately when you make a decision. So they're gonna sit back game by game and be like, "Yo, remember when he lost to he won to PSG? He did this. Remember when Spain did this? Look at how the combination of play was. You get more information, and light brings into your decision in terms of everything."
Yeah,
And
sorry, another thing as well. Sorry, just quickly, because there's a summer to prepare. Like, the player profile would they need to approach and stuff. That new manager this is a time where they might even have him in place, but they need to work on certain profile of players that the manager might want.
yes, and they will have to work in conjunctions with the manager as well. So like it's I think it's good for us. It's a tough pain medicine to swallow, but like, it's good. Like, it's not going to be rushed. There's not going to be we supposed to get the other guy because of now. Look, you get what I'm saying? Like, the players are going to be there. They're going to understand. Okay, look, I need to perform for whoever's going to come in, and for players to perform like that, some players might have reservation over one manager over the next. Now they don't know, so they have to be like, "Yo, bro, I just need to play to stay at Chelsea." You get what I'm saying? Because it seems like the police just said, "Bro, if you don't want to be here, bye." Like, there's no in betweens. Like, he doesn't owe you anything. So it's a good precedent. But yeah, man, I'm okay with the appointment. I'm not happy. I'm not sad. I'm just like decent. Like, all right, cool, bro. Just try to get us through a couple of European
What
games.
would you have preferred to see happen?
As much as I'm a majority of the Chelsea fans, I would have want like one of the two managers to come in. I don't care which one it is, but it has to be specifically one of those two. Everybody else, I'm not interested. Yeah, I'm not interested in anybody else. No Poch, no Zidane, none of those other people I'm okay with. One of those two managers, I wanted them to come in now. And right now, when they come in, they look at the squad in terms of like preseason situation. What you do in the Champions League, it's okay, bro. In a deeper problem. So this is not the season where we like, oh, if you win it, cool. But like, if you don't win it, it's not like a bad thing. It's just a situation of, what can we do for next season? Because we want to challenge as soon as possible. And one of those managers would have used these 10 games as a preseason, because I think somebody said that the Nations League are going to be, in between it. So when he comes in later on the season, that short period could not be enough for a certain manager, to, adjust certain players. I know they're world class and they don't need a lot of time, but with a lot of time, you get a lot of information, like to my previous point. So yeah, I wanted them right now just to see what the squad reacts to, a particular manager, etc. we get rid of the people that are not supposed to be here and they're not playing for the badge or the manager. So you clear out a lot of things. So yeah, man, I wanted the manager right now, whether it's Enrique or
But you can understand the decision not to rush it. And
yeah, I also understand it in terms of like what they're trying to build, because right, whoever's coming in, whether it's Enrique or Nagelsmann, it's a thing of saying, guys, there's no more firing and hiring. Like, it's done. Like, the coach is here, like, for the next 5 years, and we need to be okay with it. So tactically, he has to be right. He has to fit.
No, amigo.
Sorry?
If the coach comes in and he's not good enough, he has to go as well. No.
Yeah, but we are looking at someone like two of the best coaches in terms of, like, style of play and tactics and all of that. So I think it's a situation of Vilval and Bowley trying to fight it out in the boardroom. Like, bro, I need Julian, and the other guy's like, no, Luis is the guy. So I think it was a situation where everybody was, there was not a unanimous decision. So it was like, okay, you know what? Let's give it time. We'll come back tomorrow and discuss it further. And then somebody was like, but what about the team currently? Because Bruno is not a manager that we can, depend on for the rest of the season. I already saw James look at Bruno in some light in that Liverpool game. I don't know if you guys saw.
Yeah, I saw it. He was giving him instructions, and then Reece.
Yeah, it was like, really, nah, dog, I'm not trying to listen to you.
Yeah, Reece is like, I'm not really trying to listen to that, and then
but he was
kind of was not really listening. He was like not really attentive to the instruction that was given.
Exactly.
So, that didn't really bode well with me myself.
I saw that and I was like, yeah, it could have been a bit toxic if he got off hold of the Wolves games and all of the other games. We were just gonna be like, nah, dude, it's this guy. It's not me.
Sorry to cut you off there, bro. I think that's a testament to the way the attitude of the players are in general. I think it's not just necessarily Bruno, and I think that needs to be ironed out. And I hope Lampard can come in and just sort of that type of mentality. Like, listen, guys, I don't know who you guys think you are, but respectfully, you're nowhere near where you want to be.
And I would have loved for Lampard to call John Terry up as well as an assistant, because I think
you don't want that. You don't want. I'm always against having. Even people saying, "Oh, bring Nagelsmann and John Terry, bring this," and I don't want to have any of those people in the dressing room.
Really. It's not. Yeah, it's not that. It's just the fact of saying, we are going off of vibes, right? And it's not anything
now.
about.
Yeah.
For now, yes, for now. Just vibes. Like, if John Terry and Lampard say something, you understand. Like, these are the two best players at Chelsea in terms of legendary status, and we might win the Champions League. I really even tweeted that. I was like, yo, if one of those two come in, both of them come in, then the players change completely, because you have two legends, doing their thing in front of you. Like, they're telling you, bro, put in that tackle. The other guy's like, yo, bro, make that pass. So I think it would have been, solid in that sense. But yeah, man, it is what it is. And Lampard needs to reevaluate his career, because he needs to stop this jumping in and around the Premier League in terms of managerial. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, that's, by the way, let me read this and bring in Roger. This says Frank Lampard needs 1 point for me. Just one win, get to 40 points mark, gives you all in the champion. Okay, let me read that again. Give it your all in the Champions League, and next season we get another manager. Roger, if you're there, big up to you. You've lost your client. You're my friend, so that's not a good thing to happen. But that's, by the way, Roger, let me just call it the situation. Your thoughts on the situation. I want to know.
Hello, I just have a quick question for Roger. Roger, did you get the percentage of the firing?
It was pro bono, mate. Listen, these are interesting times. I think,
Roger, never do a job for free, my man. Do that. Moving forward.
Now you tell me. But listen, it's a bit of a circus, to be honest with you. I understand what's transpired, and I understand what most of you chaps have said, and I agree for the most part. But there's a few things that I see, and I know what you were saying, Coach, about should he have this stipulation in the contract, and I agree with what Bobby says. But this puts the owners / the executives, meaning the sporting directors and the and Vivell also, in a sticky situation. Even though there's a very slim chance that we win the Champions League, very slim. Let's be really honest with ourselves here. However, this is a cup elimination tournament, and thus anything can go. Anything. That's why you see a lot of upsets. And you're right, as you keep on saying, were we the deserved winners when we won it twice previously? No, we weren't. So it can happen. And if it does transpire that we do indeed win the Champions League, then this puts the aforementioned in a sticky situation. Because if we do go in another direction, even though Frank has won this elite cup for us, that will be a very unpopular decision with the fan base. They will definitely want him to continue even on a 1-year contract or a 2-year contract. And you never know. I mean, we don't have to win, as Bobby said, 10-0. But what we do have to do is we have to maintain keeping a relatively tight ship in the defense and start scoring, be more prolific. I mean, in other words, not hitting the bloody post or scoring a rugby conversion point. You know, if that does transpire, then this puts, we don't have to look wonderful. We can have entertaining, pretty on the eye football and a little bit more clinical. And this puts the hierarchy in a very different position, difficult position. And I'm not sure whether Frank is at the level with which we would want someone to lead us going forward. Perhaps in 5-10 years he can be that coach, but I don't believe now. So that this, I think this was a PR move. Prior to them getting rid of Potter, they should have either done so, as I said before, prior to the international break, or kept in for the season at the very least. And the other disadvantage of not getting a permanent manager right now is that permanent manager, regardless of them being mentally prepared or not, or burnt out, is that they get to see the players on the training field 5, 6, 7 days a week. That's a quarter of the season, you know, more than a quarter of the season when you include Champions League, those 2 games. And then those are valuable observation and exercises with which that manager will have in his back pocket prior to the new season or the new training camp starting. So that's invaluable. So that's why I see the difference being.
Maybe the manager doesn't want that. That's probably.
No, I'm talking about like let's say it's a Nagelsmann or a what's the other chap, the Spaniard called Enrique. Yeah, thank you. You know, if they did get the job this week, hypothetically speaking, they would have a lot. They would have 11 games essentially in their back pocket at the very least.
Yeah.
With knowledge base.
Sorry,
and then
maybe Enrique
what did you,
Nagelsmann don't want
Roger,
it.
just quickly, what did you say that the beautiful game that what did you say he likes? He's saying preach, Roger. I'm missing something here, but go ahead.
No, because this is a circus. I think prior to them dismissing my client, very funny, chaps, very funny.
And you see what is on the screen, right?
No, I haven't been looking. Sorry.
Will Roger be Lampard's lawyer now?
Yes
ahead.
and no. As
But
I
go
said,
ahead. Same, brother.
it'll be. I'll be fair to any manager. I honestly believe we have a trigger-happy culture at Chelsea, and I don't think that's a far-fetched assumption. I think that's the general consensus around the world. But anyway, listen, I think for the most part, I think prior to dismissing Potter seriously, they should have ascertained, they should have approached Nagelsmann or anyone else and ascertained where they were. They should have done their homework prior to pulling the trigger. It's that simple. What they've done hiring Frank is is it a done deal, by the way? And if it is, what they've done is a PR move to get the fans back in their favour. It's simple as that. Because he is not qualified to be our manager. Let's say he never played for Chelsea. Would they be going to him right now? No, they wouldn't. So therefore, he is not hired on the basis of his resume. I think we can all unequivocally state that. So therefore, that's a PR move. I love Frank.
So
Don't get me wrong.
as opposed to
Let's let him drop. Let's let him drop.
No,
Please. Let's let him drop.
I don't mean to belittle Frank at all. That's not my intention at all. I love Frank. If you're a Chelsea fan, he is part of your DNA. There's no doubt about it. As a player and as a coach, you want him to succeed. He has that special connection with us all. I think we can safely assume that. He's the most prolific scoring midfielder in Premier League history. He's a legend, a giant of the club. I get goosebumps just like mentioning his name. He's an amazing player. But I'm just looking at this objectively from outside the proverbial fishbowl. He wouldn't be hired if he wasn't a Chelsea legend. I'm just being honest, chaps.
No, you're not wrong, but that's exactly why he was hired.
Yeah, exactly.
Interim role.
But that's for the wrong reason. As a PR move,
that's why
mate.
that's why I wanted to ask. That's why I wanted to come back on that. As opposed to seeing it as a PR move, why don't you see it in a way where he's there to boost morale, add some sort of blue injection into the squad so that we can at least get some morale going into, again, Champions League and finish good enough so that the next manager coming in has a good foundation to take us forward, as opposed to seeing it as a PR move, quote unquote.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Again, it's how you want to look at it.
The same could be true at the same time. They're not mutually exclusive. So, but having said that, I would prefer we have someone that has the tactical acumen and the gravitas of an elite manager to come in and progress further.
And that's and I would love that as well, but unfortunately, we're not in a situation where we can dictate that. We're in April. Where can we get elite managers in April right now?
Is it not? So
let's let him drop, then you can come in.
What is the no? He's fine. He's fine, coach. What has Nagelsmann said?
Go ahead, it's your fault. Yeah, go ahead.
Has Nagelsmann said that he doesn't want the job until the new season? Is that what he stated?
Well, even if he did say that, Bayern Munich, I haven't officially sacked Nagelsmann.
Exactly, he's under contract, and they won't release him, and because hypothetically they could be playing Chelsea in the next round if both teams advance.
I don't know. Those are your words. I wouldn't know the conspiracy behind that. But again, it would be in Bayern Munich's best interest not to release him, because worst case scenario, if Chelsea does indeed advance and Bayern does indeed advance, Nagelsmann has a lot of the inside information that would be detrimental to Bayern going forward. Why would they? That's an angle I haven't seen. Yeah, that is.
Yeah, so it makes sense for them not to release him.
Again, so you can understand why they may have to do the due diligence of trying to make sure that the right manager comes in, because it's not easy to just get someone in April, an elite manager at that. As it were easier to get him, say, in October. Even though Nagelsmann had a job or Conte had a job or before the World Cup when Enrico was focusing on Spain, but it's different circumstances. We're in April, so we will probably have to do the due diligence of waiting it out to the end of the season, if these guys are available right now and they want to knock. But
may I ask a question? Do you think the owners have done a good job thus far since coming in? They're learning on the job. You can tell.
Of course.
It's cringeworthy. It's cringeworthy.
Yeah.
Roger, you've talked. I think Roger practically has covered everything, the positives and the negatives.
Yeah, I'm just being objective.
Coach, I'm back. Can I just comment on what this comment here from Bobby Fairview?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
What did he say?
Hi guys. Hi. Sorry.
Hey Bobby.
Hi.
He says Enrique is available, but we are messing around with Frank. Classic Todd, isn't he? It's. I'm glad you're laughing. I mean, this guy
I'm
always. He loves attacking the ownership. There's always a complaint, always a problem. How does he know that Enrique is not happy with waiting to the summer? Did he talk to Enrique?
I
this
think
is
these
the
are the
thing we were.
reports. Yeah,
This
this
is the
based
thing
on
we were
assumptions.
saying earlier, that yeah, fans take all these different reports, they
Of course.
create this thing in their head, and then they get really
Assumptions, Bobby.
frustrated when it doesn't
Assumptions.
go the way they want it to go. You know, running a football club is a very complex business. It's a difficult business, not to mention just coming and taking over one in the way these guys did. They've made a mistake. Yes, they're trying not to make another one. They've tried to rectify that mistake, albeit maybe they waited too long. It's debatable,
Yeah.
but they've tried to rectify that mistake by getting rid of the former manager. They don't want to make another hasty decision, and
No,
so
I have no problem with that,
and
Bobby.
and exactly, and so for that reason, as well as the reasons of the managers they're looking at, because they're not just looking at Enrique and Nagelsmann, who himself will not be available till the summer because he wants to rest, and as Roger has alluded to, that Bayern will not be happy to release him until after the season because
Doesn't
of
make
their
sense.
Champions League interest. Then the others they're looking at, this guy Amarin in Sporting, he's still going to want to stay till the end of the season, and the clubs will definitely not allow him or Mourinho or whoever else leave at this point in the season without massive compensation, even if they wanted to leave. So all this, this person could start immediately. This you don't know. And is it wise to just suddenly get someone to start because they're happy to start? Take your
No, I
time a
agree.
little bit.
No, I agree.
Take your time a little bit. Don't
It's
be
the
too
Champions
keen.
League. It's the
You know,
Champions League that's luring them. That's why they want the manager now, so they can have this hope of winning the
well,
Champions
yet
League like they've
again,
done before with a
even if
manager
they
that's come
get
in
these,
and done it.
even if they get these geezers now, there's no guarantee they can turn over Real Madrid.
Exactly. But
So
the lure of that, the lure of
we-
the Champions League glory is so
it's
high
so
that
overwhelming.
any manager, yeah, exactly.
So
So they will want an elite
I
manager
just
coming in so he can do that.
I just think
Unrealistic.
we need to chill a bit. This overzealousness at looking at somebody to blame, somebody to attack, somebody to point the finger at, and to some people it's always the ownership. These guys can't do right for doing wrong, or can't do wrong for doing right, or however you want to set that phrase. And it's too much. It's too much. Let's just wait. I think we're at this wait and see period. They're doing what they can. They're trying to navigate this corrective action in the best way they can. Remember, people like Vival, Stewart, and Winstanley, they were not part of the appointment of Mr. Potter.
No.
And even if the appointment of Mr. Potter came as a necessity, there were errors in the appointment quite clearly. So it is a fool that will do things the same way twice, if it didn't work. And they're just
Definition
trying
of
to.
insanity, right?
Well, exactly. So I think we need to support these guys a bit. Give them some breathing room. I don't subscribe to unnecessary attacks. I supported Potter right up to the point where it just got too much. The final straw with me was the Everton game. I mean, I'd had enough by then. And the ownership, I will support them. Did I want them in the first place? Eventually. I wasn't doing cartwheels, but eventually I thought they were the best bet. They've been sincere with their intentions, even if the execution has been a little bit wobbly. And what do you expect? They don't know football.
No. I actually listen. Their intentions have been very noble and sincere. You can tell that because they put their money where their mouth is. My only constructive criticism of them is that they didn't actually hire the necessary staff, as in Winstanley, as in Stewart, as in Vivel first. This is what they should have first done. This was, and also the way that they dismissed the previous personnel to a certain extent. That they came in with a very brash. Other than that, listen, that And you learn, I get it, but they've ran sports franchises before, whether it's baseball, whether it's football, whether it's cricket, doesn't matter. The product on the field is the only thing that differs. The actual, shall we say, business entity is always going to be the same, with the exception of different countries have different laws. So from that perspective, they should know better. That's my only observation in that regard.
Can I just get on that point, right?
No, of course you
can. I just want to say, like, as much as they know different sports like baseball and basketball, it's not football. And football is results now. Like, it's a result-driven business, right? Where if it's not making sense on the pitch, the fans are going to quickly to tell you, bro, this is not making sense. And I don't think they understood that. But now I think they do, because even in the comments, they came out, I think one of the comments said they were surprised at the anger Chelsea fans showed towards them, right? In terms of what was going on.
I think Egbali has a better understanding of football.
Yeah, so when these things come in, my thing is, right, with the owners, like, they're doing a good job, because they, as much as they're learning on the job, they're not repeating the same.
Owners, better than Newcastle's previous owners, etc. Yeah, we could be in a lot worse.
We could not even have like owners not buying or not doing anything. But you can actually see they're trying to build something that's sustainable. You get in for the long term, and that needs time. And as much as people don't want to hear
trial and error as well along the way.
Exactly.
That's
like
what it says.
That Potter was an error. They know this because they just went, oh, who's doing good and who's up and coming? Oh, it's Potter at Brighton. Let's go get him. It was just an instant decision, and not, looking at like the actual data, does he fit us? And then we just threw a bunch of players at him, and we're like, do something, dude. You're up and coming, right? So I think right now they don't want to do that again. They'd be like, oh, let's go get Nakism. He's the one and up and coming. Here's the players. Here's another 300 mil. Do something. So they're not like, yo, we need to look at win percentage. We need to look at, does he fit? Does everything, every cog in the machine, does it work? Does he want to work with us? Is he a difficult?
Sometimes, I'm sorry to interrupt, but can I just say this because this is really important. Sometimes, even if you've got somebody that you want, can I just say this? Yes. Even if you've got somebody that you want, it's often good in a recruitment scenario to step back. Give yourself time to think about it. Give the person time to think about it, and then come back and make your final proposition of, we'd like to give you the job. Do you see what I mean?
Sure.
So they're having a good cool-off period. They're taking their time, making it all as kosher as possible between now and the start of the new season. As I said to Coach earlier, they could have appointed one of them already, but you won't know, because often if you select a favorable candidate, you can tell them, look, this has to be confidential until we as a club were ready to make it official. And that person could be studying the team up until the start of the next season. So I think we all got to chill.
As well, Bobby, the contractual side of it, like the money side of it, we also need to understand, like, we're going to not look like desperate when we're trying to negotiate with the agents and stuff. Like, we're just going to sit like, exactly. We're like, if you don't want the job, the other guy's there. Like, he's literally there. And the papers are actually, talking about. So we have a whole lot of leverage in terms of who we want, because people are lining up to actually come to Chelsea. It's not like it's a bad thing, or
the media is really very important factor, because sorry to crash in, because we are moving forward, and before we forget what just happened, and very important thing happened, very amazing thing just now happened, just 5 minutes ago. We have this is for the records. Potter's lawyer just now agreed, however noble the intentions were of the owners, they made a mistake and they are trying to correct it. And that's what is, like Potter's lawyer just now said.
You're never gonna let it.
Yeah,
So
that'll
we
be
have
on my
on
tombstone,
record
won't
that
it?
owners made a
I was wondering
mistake
what he was
and
on
they are
about.
trying to correct it. And
Yeah.
and this is coming from Potter's lawyer. I want to have a wine for this, a glass of wine. I mean, this
No,
is
no. To be fair, Roger is always sincere. He defends Potter. He likes Potter, but he's realistic about it.
No,
so
you have to
I'm
be.
not
You have to
surprised.
be objective. Seriously.
yes, but
No,
for
there
the
is
fun
no-
of it, it is finally done.
But you know the one thing you're right, Bobby and gentlemen. I totally agree. This is an extraordinary panel, by the way. There's a lot of cerebral, articulate insight that your panel has put forward.
And coach.
No, let's not go that far. Hello, come on. let's not be that silly. No, of course. But seriously, you're right, Bobby, about taking time and being more prudent, shall we say. But having said that, I mean this politely. We are a big team, but we're not a Real Madrid. We're not a Barca. They are bigger than us for the most part. Let's be objective. And a Man U, for instance. But and that hurts me to say that. But let's be honest. If the Real Madrid job goes, do you think like
Whose
Nagelsmann would go
Samsung,
to
whose
Real?
Android is that?
Do you understand? If another job opening transpires, we could lose a certain candidate that we would want specifically, like a Nagelsmann. Enrique won't go to Real.
It's a good thing, though. But don't you think that's a good thing? Because it would show that he's not really wants the Chelsea job. He just wants a job.
Well,
Like
no,
I feel like
well, no, but
it would help.
that's like that for 99.9% of they're mercenaries. All these. That's why you see a merry-go-round. You know, look at Frank. He loves Chelsea, but he's gone to Everton. Jose, he's gone to he's a football whore. He'll go anywhere. Come on, let's be honest here. Let's be honest. It's like it's the passion, it's the money, it's the ego, it's everything. You know, that's why he'll coach in multiple leagues, 4 or 5 leagues. But I see what you're saying. But let's not be naive here to say that we want a coach that will only want this job.
Somebody, you know. Also, I mean, the guy just got fired, you know, and then
no, I agree.
And he gets a call from Chelsea, like, would you like to join? And he's still thinking. And then in the press, there is like, okay, Enrique is already on the doors. And then he says, okay, I really want this job, but I mean, I just got fired. And then there is some report, Enrique is there already making presentation. It's all very competitive and very emotional. You know? So, yeah. I mean, it's hard. Let's not judge these coaches or potential coaches and all. And this process, I mean, and moreover, when this is going as this is going, I think the board has taken the right decision. Let's take a time and let's not rush it.
I'm not saying that we should rush into it. I'm just playing devil's advocate because don't forget Liverpool. Klopp could walk away. You could have Ancelotti retiring. You could have Barcelona opening. So you have 3, with all due respect, bigger clubs than us that anyone would give their firstborn for. You know.
I just want. I understand.
Like we have a manager in the correct frame of mind, with the correct attitude.
Yes.
And going at the right moment. Maybe, I mean, okay. I mean, maybe it was not to be right now. But maybe in like 2 years, maybe in 3 years.
It's a fine line, isn't it, gentlemen?
Yeah, exactly.
Can I just say, we cannot rush this decision because we are afraid to lose our leverage. I don't think we should operate like that. Because if we do that,
I didn't intimate that. I didn't mean to intimate that, but I'm saying we should take that into consideration also. That's what I'm saying.
It's there, and it leads to my next question. I'm sorry, Coach, for asking this. Like, I don't know what's the next.
No.
You know,
I mean, you can see I've not been talking much because I'm feeling some pain here. So.
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. So,
I
just wanted to ask, like, let's say, okay, Lampard is in the job, right, for the next 10 games or whatever, and we get pen to paper to one of the 2 managers. We get pen to paper. I don't care who it is, depending on your preference. what then? Like, let's say we are within these 10 games, we're like 2 games in, or after the Real Madrid game, and whatever, we not get knocked out or whatever, and one of the 2 managers are currently here. Like, we've signed them. Do they interfere in Lampard's process, or does Lampard get the rest of the season?
Can I have a go first of this at this answer?
Sure.
I mean, it might be even a case where they have, in principle, some kind of a step-by-step phase, and like short listings at every stage. But it might also be like they have, in principle, agreement with a couple of them, and they are just like checking whether there is something they have forgotten or there is something more to do. It's very hard to plan this thing, but the way it has been done right now, I think if the new manager comes in the summer, Lampard will be here and there will be a smooth handover. Lampard will help it. And let's be honest, a lot of players have to be sold. An input of Lampard will be crucial as well. And Lampard knows many players from the academy itself. He's worked with youth academy. So his skills and his input will be there to take, which is a very good thing actually. So I think it will be very gradual and a friendly handover and an environment. And I think this is another plus why it is good to have Lampard, which is more like Chelsea. He's like through and through Chelsea.
I don't want Lampard to have put on that.
Yeah, but he's not making a decision. He will be giving input, and that's it.
Yeah, not disrespect to you, brother, but this is Chelsea. There's nothing smooth about Chelsea.
Yeah,
right
Bobby
now
some
they are
people
trying
enjoy the
to
roller
make it
coaster.
like that now.
Yeah, it's tumultuous, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's official now. I think it's now on the club's website that Frank Lampard is now the caretaker manager for the club.
Super fun.
Go ahead. Who was talking? I can't talk that much. Sorry, can you guys hear me?
I made my point. And like, okay, go ahead, Roger. Maybe you can answer and give the input on that question further, because I really wanted to go, so I have to go. But okay, I made my point, and thank you, and big up everybody. We have a good time. We will enjoy the Lampard too, and there's another truth in that. That this time I think Lampard will get a proper farewell. We know when is his last.
A pleasure as always.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, can I come in now?
Go for it.
Hi. The only good thing here is that apart from the Champions League, Lampard is coming in without no pressure at all. You know, because if he was coming in when, say, we're trying to get into the top 4, say we just fell out maybe 5th position, then that would have been huge pressure on him. But now coming in, we have nothing to play for apart from the Champions League. So I think he'll be a lot relaxed, take his time, and then get himself, impose his style and everything on the players and get them on side. You know, so that's just what I think. Hopefully he gets it right.
So, question: can he impose his style? Because whatever he's
feedback. Where's the feedback coming from? Sorry, we're getting the feedback here. I think it's from AD's end.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I think.
I was just asking. Can he impose his style of play? Because he's only here for a few minutes. Like, not disrespect to him, but like it's just like a temporary thing. So can you implement something, or just like go off of basic football like tactics and just ride out the season?
He's not gonna.
If I can come in just for a minute, here's the thing. I think it will be difficult if he tries to implement his preferred style of play. I think he will be in even more trouble.
Yeah, he couldn't do it the first time around.
Yeah, we'll be in even more trouble. I think he's better off continue where Potter stopped, but maybe change things here and there to get it to work, or maybe change personnel. Maybe, I don't know. However, he can do it to get it working. But if he tries to implement anything new, just 9 games to go, it's dangerous, really. That's my opinion. Go ahead, Rodrigo.
Yeah, we just need another maybe 2 more wins to secure our stay in the Premier League. That's all we need now. Because
Because we're not guaranteed right now. We're still up to 40 points, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's the benchmark usually.
So are we saying sorry? So are we saying he's going to stick with the 3 at the back?
Yes, he will.
That's a chance.
But do you think does he play that system though? He plays 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3.
Yeah,
he did play 3 at the back. Remember the semi-final against Man United or Man United away in the second season? Yeah, he does. He did play 3 at the back.
Yeah, but guys, we also need to remember that Lampard defensive record was horrendous.
Yes,
that's the one thing that got him fired. Like he going forward, he could score. He seems could score goals, but like defensively, they were just a shambles.
Yes. So what does this mean for Kepa? We need to talk about this also because Kepa was in the doghouse.
Roger, you go ahead. You can drive the conversation. And Roger may be our host now from now on. And here's the thing, Roger, we need to talk about, if you have time, his Frank Lampard record as Everton manager, if you want to, and also his backroom staff, Adam Paul Clement. I think that's huge.
Sure.
That can lead to some measure of stability experience there. But you go ahead, Roger.
Yeah, that's
whatever
an
you want to talk
interesting point. Who is he bringing with him? Yeah. Okay, let's talk about golf. No, I'm just kidding. Which backroom staff is he keeping, and which new additions of the backroom staff? I'm not sure that's been announced probably yet. But I'm sorry.
He shouldn't keep any of the Potter guys. The boys gave everything. All of them out. Should never see them again.
I know what you mean. But no, at least for transition for a week or so, perhaps. But the thing I want to say is
the doctor, the medical stuff.
But it's the medical stuff. But what we have to discuss is, you're right, defensively, Lampard was a shambles, and it's, I think, because Rudiger and Alonso, they were out of favour with him for whatever reason. I have no idea, because Rudiger was, as soon as Tuchel came in, Rudiger was a transformational player. He solidified our defence. And what does this mean for Kepa? Seriously, does he go back to Mendy? I believe Mendy was on the bench.
Yeah.
So that does that mean that it's an open? Does he alternate? Does he bring in Mendy? The good news is that I think that you may, because we didn't have really a problem scoring that much as we have since his departure. I think that's a safe assumption. Since Tuchel arrived, he shored up the defense, but we were creating a lot of opportunities, but we weren't, shall we say, taking advantage of them. But with Frank, that was never the case. We were quite prolific by comparison. So I think there's a strong possibility that we could see an uptick in how we produce the end product. What do you think, chaps?
Yeah. Who did he have last time? He had Tammy Abraham and Olivier Giroud.
Yeah, Giroud.
Yeah, I think we can't have better players now. One thing I'm happy he brought in Paul Clement. He brought in like, this is an experienced head. He's gonna come in, calm everything down, and help Lampard as well. Because last time around, he had his mate Jody Morris.
Yes.
You know, he didn't have someone more senior in terms of like experience than him when he was. What did he have more senior in the backroom stuff? It was just him, wasn't it? It's just him and Jody
Morris.
Is he older than Morris or the same age? Because I think
they're close.
Morris could be close, yeah. You know what I mean? So now he has Paul Clement. Paul Clement, for people that don't know, he was at Chelsea for a number of years. Worked under Mourinho, worked on Ancelotti, and he's got good experience, and he can help as well. Yeah, I hope he's here for like. I think he's a very, very good defensive coach as well. So maybe defensive setup. Yeah, how to set up a team, because that's what we need. I don't think we need. I think maybe I don't think we need like a Lampard come in and do a like mastermind. No, we just need Lampard to set up the team correctly. for game in, game out. That's all. That's all, really. And when I say set up the team correctly, that includes the mentality, how to approach those games, because that could, that could affect the players when they know there's nothing to play for. But I think Lampard would not tolerate that. He will not. He will not let the players just okay, we don't have anything to play for.
But what does this mean for players like development? Because we have.
If I'm Lampard, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play Kepa in the Wolves game, and then we're gonna go from there. Because there is this, he fell out with this player, He can come in and say, right, that was then. I drew this a line in the sand. Would that be a good thing? Anyways, yeah, we move forward, right? So I'll give you an opportunity now. So you've been playing, and I think I trust you to play this Wolves game. For Madrid, we're going to see how you perform in this game. Because, I think you should do that. The other player was Kovacic, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was.
Even with Kovacic. So I'm not really worried about that. I think Lampard is a very, very, very intelligent man. He knows. I think he will know what to do. Yeah. And last time around, because
does that mean we see Mason Mount back? Yeah.
Mount. I think Mount is coming back.
Most
That's
likely.
Let's be honest. It's kind of obvious. He's the first name on the team sheet.
Yeah. That's a
And
fair
he's the
assumption.
one he's going to trust the most, actually. It's one of the players he trusts the most. So definitely you see him.
I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out against Wolves with an armband on it, because the last time he left with an armband.
I don't think he does that. If he starts by giving Messi Man the armband, then he's creating a serious problem for himself.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
but
it's a huge risk. But here's one thing I want to say quickly. Don't be surprised Mount starts firing on the front.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did so previously.
Yeah.
Right?
Because he's familiar with him, and that could go a long way. He trusts him, and I'm sure Mason trusts him. Yeah.
Sorry, guys, I'm back now. What's this? Paul Clement has rejoined Chelsea. Oh, that's good.
That's good, very good. I'm happy.
Yeah. So that's solidifies the background, right?
Experience. Yeah, Paul Clement, crikey, he was at Real Madrid with Ancelotti.
Well. He followed him everywhere, even in
won the
Munich.
Champions League with him. Wow, no, he's top dollar. Chelsea guy, been with Chelsea way back when, had Mourinho with him as well. Wow, that is a good appointment. I like that one in the backroom staff. That's some experience that Frank much needs.
Who do you think chose him? Do you think it was Frank or one of the directors?
He'll be one of the directors. These
Frank
guys
is intelligent. Maybe Frank himself, you don't know.
Well, possibly, but these Chelsea. Well, yeah, could be Frank, because Frank has a relationship with all these guys. Yeah.
Because if Paul Clement came to mind in the first place, he would have been the caretaker manager himself. Because you could argue he's more experienced than Frank.
He is, exactly.
Good point, actually.
Exactly. But didn't he try management somewhere and he fell flat on his face? Was it with Swansea or somewhere?
I don't recall that.
I don't remember that.
It was Swansea. I think it was. I think you're right.
It was Swansea and it didn't work. Some people are just number twos. I look at. No, I mean, it's not a bad thing.
No, it's a good point, but it's just funny the way you said it.
Sorry, I didn't mean it to come out like that.
Not everyone can be a general, right?
Some people are just number two. But
no, that's not everybody.
Steve Clark.
You know why it comes off as bad? It's because you said he fell flat on his face first, and then he was like, nobody. Yeah.
Well, it's like Steve Clark. I know Steve Clark's doing well with Scotland now, but as far as being a club manager is concerned, he never had much success. But being a number two, a deputy to someone, like certainly to Mourinho, was fantastic. Mm-hmm. So I like that a lot. And even if we do get our elite manager, if he can't do much worse than have Steve Clement around him, that's for sure.
But this begs the question, Frank.
I mean, Paul Clement.
Bobby, this begs the question: if we do start scoring more, which really that doesn't really take much considering we don't score. If we start missing the post and actually scoring between the posts and are more prolific, and you can see that our brand is better, and we are a better product on the field, and we do, by some stretch of the imagination, we do win the Champions League. It's a big ask, I know that, but just hypothetically, then it behooves these owners / executives to hire him, because it will be, the fan base will revolt if indeed he does win.
Yeah, that's fine. But we'll deal with that if and when we
But
get
this
to it.
will-
That puts us in a strong bargaining position. That makes us less desperate.
It's a good problem to have. I know what you're saying.
Yeah. We're now relaxed while we're looking for the manager. Where the tension will start to build up again is if Frank doesn't do well and starts to maintain Potter's position. Then, of course,
or even regress. That would be,
God forbid,
potentially.
But that would then put all the tension up. But if he's doing well, we can smoke a cigar and talk to any of these guys and take our time and not feel under any sort of threat. And if they do rip up trees, then a conversation is to be had. Definitely, to say, okay, Frank, do you want it permanently? I don't see it myself, but
I get it. But it's a possibility. Bobby, do you think he goes with Mendy?
No.
He sticks
Good
with
question.
Kepa.
It would be seriously drastic for him to come in, and then the next game with Frank Kepa on the bench and Mendy starting.
Yeah. And Kepa hasn't been doing badly.
No, No, he hasn't. No. I am not. I like Kepa a lot. Don't get me wrong. But I pay attention to that position more than any. However,
he has been doing bad. He needs to get rid in the summer. ASAP.
I respectfully disagree, but I think.
Go ahead, Roger. Go ahead.
Because of his distribution, I think he's had a solid year. However, Mendy was always his preferred choice. So does he switch?
Because back then, Kepa had his so-called emotional issues, which exacerbated his physical deficiency. But since then, Kepa has always been a very agile goalkeeper. His strength, he's like this guy, that Sommer guy in Bayern at the moment. Their strength is their agility, and they use it to make up for their lack of height and wingspan.
Wingspan more than anything.
Exactly. Kepa's the sort of goalkeeper that when he's bad, he's very, very bad. When he's good, he's terrific. However,
and he's consistent, if you notice.
He's consistent, but that deficiency gets him every now and then. And of course, it irritates the hell out of me when I see, oh, crikey, if this guy was just an inch taller, he would have got this one. It's a horrible situation to be in because it's not really his fault. So I don't think...
The only criticism I have of him, he doesn't dominate his box aerially.
Well, that's because of the lack of confidence, because of his physicality. If you've got the physical presence, of course you're going to go and bully people because you can. Whereas the way he is...
But traditionally, though, back in the day, you had keepers that were of his size, but they would dominate traditionally the box.
Yeah, Peter Bonetti, for one, the Chelsea.
Exactly.
There was Campos, what's his name? That Campos goalkeeper?
Yeah,
I don't know his first name.
You mean the Colombian?
I think Colombia, last name Campos. He was an excellent goalkeeper. He wasn't the tallest.
Not everyone was Pat Jennings.
Casillas wasn't very tall.
Yeah, Casillas wasn't very tall.
Casillas, he was.
Can I just say something? I think there's a deeper question more than who he starts, because it's dependent on Lampard. Has he gotten the skills of his teams playing out of the back, like starting play from the goalkeeper? Is he going to need that? If not, then I don't see Kepa starting. But if he's developed that, coaching ability to, coach out from the play out from the back, then maybe there's a huge shout for Kepa to start, because he's one of the best.
That is an excellent point, because he might think that the answer to the lack of goal scoring is route one. Route one, the proverbial from the
Sure,
goalkeeper, you hump it up to the top. Maybe he'll go that way, and you're right. Then we're looking at Mendy because you need someone to do that. But I would feel very sorry for Kepa, really, after he's done so
100%.
well. You know, I just don't think it's right. And
Mendy gets a new contract.
Well,
not for 9
But
games.
Mendy's been out for so long. Mendy's been out for so long.
For another contract.
Yeah, Mendy's been out for so long. Someone has just said it's
not
likely.
Mendy's been out for so long. Like.
Yeah, it's not likely, is it? I mean, he's bound to. He's not going to upset the apple cart.
You would think so, but you never know. The other thing I want to ask is if you have a look at our plethora of forwards. You know, we have what 33 people in our squad, and I think like 32 are forwards, right? Come on, it's like who does he choose? What formation? And like, does he play Madueke? Does he play Pierre-Emerick? You know, does he use Hakim Ziyech, which was his first? Wasn't that his first acquisition?
Yeah, I mean, but he's not going to go with that sentiment. Lampard is in a rather luxurious position to be able to do what he likes. He's only got a short time.
Yeah, he is.
So he can drop anybody and just look them in the face and say, well, wait till the summer, your pre-season, and then you come back. So that is a very good thing about the position he's in. He can play whoever he likes. He could drop whoever he likes. Some players
he could bring in Carney. You don't know.
Exactly.
Would this give him a backbone, though? Like, teach him to have a backbone? In terms of, like, this first stint at Chelsea where he was just accepting, oh, we're going to go get Havertz. Oh, we're going to go Werner. I'm cool with that. Oh, come. Now it's just a situation of saying, I don't care because I'm not here for long. So whether you play or you don't, you're just helping Chelsea in the long run.
He has nothing to lose.
Exactly.
Nothing to lose.
Exactly.
But it's polish his resume, which is important.
I'm so happy about Paul
Clement. N'Golo. Yeah, so much.
He will.
I just hope he uses N'Golo judiciously, though.
He will. Judiciously, I don't know.
Yeah, that's concern,
what I'm scared of. Don't play
Yeah,
him
me
90
too.
minutes twice a week. That's the one thing. He needs to be brought back gently. You know?
I saw a tweet
last night. I was like, oh,
I saw a tweet somebody saying, when Lampard is being announced, Kante is crying. He's like, oh my God, the worship. I'm about to work.
that does worry me. Because Lampard doesn't, he's just going to be after results. I'm thrilled about Paul Clement, though. That has made my day.
Yeah,
I'm
same
so
here.
happy. I'm so happy.
Just a quick question.
That guy.
Just a quick question. You see what Bruno played in the Liverpool game? He played a three in the midfield. Yeah. What do you guys think about it?
Perfect.
It worked.
I loved it.
I'm still saying, had it been Graham Potter, he'd do the same too because Kante was ready.
Effectively, in the midfield, we were 5.
Yeah.
Because our wing backs, Chilwell and James, they come in to support the midfield. I loved it. I loved it because that's our weakness.
In his post-game interview, he said it was a 3-4-3 where he was using João Felix as a diamond. He would bring him in on occasion. It was more fluid. That's what he said.
Yeah.
But to me, it looked like a 3-5-2.
It looked like a 3-5-2 to me as well.
Yeah, but this is what he said. This is what Bruno said if you listen to him. But
so the question is, we like it, yes. I also love it. But what does it mean for the wingers that we bought?
I think he's going to go with a back 4. I think Frank goes with a back 4 and starts scoring.
Or 4-3-3.
Do we have the defense for a back 4? That's the problem.
We do have that.
When does Silva come back?
I think we have.
In his absence, we can still play with a back 4.
We do actually have a back 4. We have,
we have a back 4 defense. Yeah.
I think I can.
But either of them would Koulibaly would do.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's still Fofana.
Fofana, definitely. That guy.
I don't see Cucurella playing. I think Lampard is now going to play Cucurella.
No, he won't.
He won.
That's all you do. You never know, you never know. Lampard is there to win. Another person I was worried about yet again is Fofana. You see, when you're good like that, Lampard doesn't spare you.
Which Fofana?
Wesley.
Yeah.
He's gonna play.
Oh,
Just overplaying. I don't like that.
Actually, that's a really good point. Datra Fofana, maybe he brings him in the picture.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Especially
because
Paul
we
Pogba.
also know that Lampard likes young players, so that would be a plus for him for Detro Fofana.
Eddie, let me ask you this quickly. I know this can chip into. They talked about, I think, Pero, he raised that possibility of Lampard coming in and starting Mendy over Kepa Arrizabalaga. Eddie, do you see any negative to that?
Yeah, I just said that earlier. I said Mendy's been out for a while, so I don't see him just bringing in Mendy and dropping Kepa.
But if it happens, because he's been ready, he's a goalkeeper. He doesn't. He's been on the bench for about 3-4 games now, or even more. Let's say 3 at least. So I just don't want to pull numbers out of my wazoo and throw it at people. But if he does that, is there any negative to that? What do you think happens?
I think so. There'll be huge negative to that because Kepa has been doing all right. And if he can't go back based on when he was there the last time when he dropped Kepa. So Kepa has been doing very well. And if he does that the second time, then it might seem as if he has an agenda against Kepa. Just bringing back Mendy when there's not.
I don't think it's an agenda. I would use the term that perhaps he prefers.
No, that's what Kepa might be thinking.
Sure,
because what would be the reason? You know what I mean? That would be what Kepa would be thinking. Does he have an agenda against me? What have I done wrong just to come and drop me and bring?
Right. I think Frank will say, I prefer a keeper that has size and comes out and dominates his box, for instance. He could use that as an example. Or basically sit them both down and say, listen, your position is up for grabs. It's up to you who determines the start. He may motivate them to shall we say, rally for the position, to play for the position.
But you know where I think it's going to be a very determined thing is it's the Champions League game, because as much as we can say that for the Wolves game, the Champions League game, it's just going to determine, you serious about this guy, because this is one of the most serious games where we have in the season with the rest of the season, other than stopping Arsenal at the end of the season.
We need to make top 6 if it's possible. We need to win out in a perfect world.
So I'm going to say, look, if I'm Lampard, and we also need to put the question of saying Chelsea there've been murmurs of us looking for a goalkeeper. So I think if I'm Lampard, I help Chelsea clear out the squad, like thin it out. Like
What are you clearing again? How many old guards are left there? There aren't too many. We already know those are leaving. For instance, Ziyech we know is leaving. Aubameyang most likely. Who else is left? Let's ask Aspilicueta, because the club will not extend. Who else is leaving? There's nothing to clear out. The obvious, again, there are players that we know are going to leave. But go ahead with what you were saying. Maybe I'm missing something.
I'm just saying, if Lampard can wear, the bad guy act for Chelsea and the board, it's right now. Yeah, it's right now. He needs to wear that jacket, because we're gonna look at him and be like, oh, why is Ziyech? Why doesn't he? It's like, nah, but Ziyech is leaving. There's a reason why I'm here. Like, he's not supposed to be playing. Pulisic, all these other players who don't actually do anything for Chelsea, we'll be like, okay, I'm not playing them because of that. And remember what Potter did.
Where you're going? Go ahead.
Yeah. Remember what Potter did. Like, Ziyech was, out the door, and then things happened, and then he has to play the next game. And it's just like, yo, bro, don't you have a backbone? Like, as much as it was a bad thing, don't be nice. I don't think Lampard does that. I think Lampard just says, dude, you don't want to be here, I'm not going to play you. It's end off. And the board are going to back it, because the board are going to be like, yo, the 2 managers that are coming in, they don't need this clutter. They need a fresh, start. So these players that are, causing havoc, they don't play for the badge or they're doing anything in the background. I think Lampard is here to clear all of that if he's given those instructions. And I'll be happy, like more than happy, if he just does that. And at the end of the season, we have a thinner squad and we know exactly who's staying and who's going.
But
And
I don't want Lampard to have that power though, because he have bias towards some players and you want to keep them and kick. No, I want the new manager to evaluate the squad himself. I want Lampard to have as minimal input into who's staying, who's going, who's contracted to be extended. That is
this is like the other point I wanted to add. It's like it has to work in conjunctions of who's our next manager.
Yes.
Like
yeah.
if let's say by the next 2 weeks or so, we're like, okay, we have a manager, whether it's Nagusman or Enrique, and he's like, dude, I'm not gonna use ZH. I'm not gonna use this guy. I'm not gonna use that guy. Because apparently Enrique put like a portfolio. This is just like rumors from one of those accounts where they're like he put like a portfolio of every player. So
and how he was going to use them. But you know, the thing with that is that this is why this cool-off period is important, and I am sure the selected candidate will know perhaps just before the end of the season, and that period, this sort of period of time will be where they'll be gathering that information of who will want this player, who will not want this player, who I think that would be part of their interview. And that's why people spoke of that presentation that Enrique gave, showing how he will use the players, how he would get them to score, how he'll do this, do that. And he'll probably have said those that he may consider letting go. That's all, you know, that would be, this is why what they're doing is good, because this is the period of that sort of due diligence, for want of a better word. So by the time the new person comes in, the club is already prepared, primed, and putting what they want in action. So this is a good thing. If
Don't you
played
think
right, this is a good thing.
A bit of a coincidence, after Enrique had a face-to-face interview with them, in the afternoon they employed Lampard on an interim. Maybe and the previous day they did speak to Nagelsmann. Maybe both managers actually told them, listen, it'll be best you go for an interim, or it'll be best if we join you in the summer. Remember Enrique had an interview a few days ago, came out in the Spanish press saying yes, he wants to join the Premier League, but he sees himself joining in July. So obviously, maybe even when he met them, maybe that was a conversation.
Absolutely. And also, sorry, Roger, just one last thing based on this same point. Also, knowing the players they want and they don't want, it's not hypothetical for the clubs to then say, okay, we've interviewed you, we know who you want, we know who you don't want, we can't really do anything about it, but let's wait until the summer so we can trim down everything and present it to you as your package.
Yes.
Can I just say? Can I just say, because I was there in the boardroom when this was discussed.
I didn't see you there.
It's because remember when we were supposed to go to the toilet, we discussed this very quickly, and apparently, Val was like, you know what, I want Nagelsmann because I've worked with him, and I know I can manage him in a way, and I know he fits our style and everything. And then Bodhi was like, okay, I'm not convinced, but okay. And he was like, you know what, let's have another interview. The least thing we can do is just have another interview. And then Enrique came in, and before Enrique came in, Bodhi told him, bro, pull out the portfolio file about every player, and then that's going to be my stance to vote on you. So I think they had a clash in the boardroom, and they were like, yo, I want Julian, and the other party was like, I want who's this Enrique. And funny enough, these two names are very in the media and all over the place in terms of like Chelsea content. And Poch was just standing there like, guys, what about Poch? And they'd be like, no, we don't want Poch. So So I think it's just a standstill. I think that's what's happening. I think we could have gotten Julian, but somebody I think in the boardroom said, "No, guys, let's take our time. Let's have another interview with somebody else and see maybe things that we are not seeing." You get what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, I think it's just the butting of heads, and it's a good thing because they're not rushing a decision for me.
Because I heard they were saying there were a question on Nagelsmann age, and they wanted to know exactly what went wrong with Bayern. So maybe they want to get more information, like why was he fired at Bayern?
Yeah,
because they don't want another Tuchel episode here.
The rumors are that his girlfriend that works with Build, or maybe was leaking his practice to Build. I'm not sure.
But the funny thing is, he was
about
complaining about it. He complained about it in the media and said, "Oh, someone is leaking our tactics." Nagelsmann said that.
and then it turns out it was his girlfriend who was leaking his tactics. And if you're in the chat, apologies to you. I can't read that much. I took the supposed medicine before time, but my teeth aches badly. A procedure, even we have to postpone the follow-up procedure till I return from Texas. But I think I'll be fine before then. I'll still try to continue to host. But that's, by the way, I appreciate all of you. If you can, if you haven't, please take a second, drop a like on the stream, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. The likes to go along with this here from Bobby Fairview says, Lampard saved Everton from the drop last year. Timing couldn't be better to bring in a guy with skills on the bottom half of the table.
That's funny.
Yeah. Let's look at this. Roger, if you want to start, what do you make of this comment here from Lampard? I think this is a bit close to what the question I was asking. This says, for me, that's quoting Frank Lampard here. For me, in simple terms, it won't be my decision in terms of him staying long term. To me, I read it as if there's that possibility, but it won't be his decision. I understand that I will be asked a lot. I've got my eyes wide open. Important thing for me is to park that and focus. I'm excited. So, what do you make of it? Do you read anything into it?
He's just happy to be back in the saddle, basically, to be on that proverbial horse.
And he's
how about
under
this
no
aspect?
illusions.
How about this aspect with the
he's
with
under
the,
no
with long
illusions,
term
coach.
and square braces? What do you make of that?
Yeah, Bobby just summed it up. I'll quote him.
What did he say? I didn't hear him.
He's under no illusions. I couldn't have put it better myself, Bobby. Exactly. It's not. There's no pretentious here. It's plain and simple. He's a smart chap. I think Bobby can attest to that. The guy is level-headed. He's
ambitious.
He's very hardworking too. You know, he's the first to arrive, the last to leave, so to speak. You know, he fits all those, sayings, etc. He knows what it's all about. He's under no expectations other than what's been imparted to him, shall we say. I think he knows exactly his role and exactly what needs to transpire.
He knows his place.
He knows his place, and he said this is what I can do, and they've said this is what we're looking for, and I think they've come to an understanding.
Can I just make a highlight? When he first spoke, I just noticed the tone of voice when Potter's ex-client, started speaking. He was not for it. Now he is. So I think he might got an SMS from Lampard saying,
No. It's not that I'm against. It's not that I'm against. I'm referring to the whole the entirety of what's transpired. Not so much.
Yeah, 100%. I was just pulling your legs.
No, I know that. I can tell in your tone of voice. I got it. Maybe I got a new client. Just kidding.
We'll never know. Show us your emails.
That's funny. But I want to ask something, if I may, gentlemen. Do you think this Wolves game is a dress rehearsal for Real Madrid?
It has to be a little bit.
Yeah. In other words, if he plays a back four, does he play with a back four also on Wednesday? That's what I'm asking, basically. And
or
the
not.
Players to a certain extent. Yeah, or
depending
not.
Depending on how well they do with the back four.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, we played very well against Wolves. If coach will remind us constantly of the 4-2-3-1 we played, and it's the only game
And
that
I hate
really.
that formation.
Wolves didn't have a manager then.
No, I know, but listen, we looked good. We were clicking on all cylinders, as they say. We really were. It's the only game that I think coach will say that Potter looked like an Ancelotti just for 90 minutes he did in that game.
Mm-hmm.
We looked
He's just been nice.
My question would be the striker position.
Yes.
Because if it's a dress rehearsal,
the front
then
3 or 4.
Do you know what I like about Paul Clement being there? Who knows Ancelotti better than Paul Clement? That is such a good move. That is such a good move. It's going to make him nervous because, you're not going to reinvent the wheel. So his number 2 being the number 2 at the club that's coming for him, that he doesn't know that much about anyway, because Chelsea has been rearranged so much. They're not really that known. So this is a big opportunity to get it right.
It's probably a big reason why he was hired too.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, this is a board decision, I think. Now that you brought up that point,
this is
now it looks more like
this
a board decision.
Morgan Stanley. This is Stewart. This is that's Bobby's one, by the way. Bobby needs to take the credit for that, not me.
Yeah,
yeah. Let me see how much I can get here quickly. Give Lampard a lifetime consultancy contract to make sure Brighton don't raid us again. Okay, I get that. Roger, I have already informed coach that we will fuse together in Roger Glenn Incorporated. What font do you want on the business card? To be Frank Lampard's lawyer, if you understand that, Roger. Remind me again, panelists and coach, did Lampard ever set up in a back 3?
Yeah, I think he did.
Yes, he did.
Rarely,
I give you games already.
But
Man
it was
United semi-final in the FA Cup.
But predominantly with a back 4.
It was always
Man
basically
United FA Cup with the back 3. Man United away from home in the second season was a back 3.
But he played predominantly with a back 4.
Yeah, the vast majority was a back 4. It was what was it, a 4-2-3-1 mostly?
4-3-3. He's a 4-3-3 merchant.
Yeah. I mean, this bodes well for the number 8s, doesn't it? Which we have an abundance of.
Just one more question I will ask the panelists so we can end on that note maybe. We've answered that question. Frank did well at Chelsea than Potter. He has a better record. Potter now has the worst record, we'll have to be honest. And I'm still saying this, Frank's issue started after the new signings came in.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
What else do we have here? Let's play 4-3-3-1. 4-2-3-1. I love that formation, so I'm with you. With Mendy, Reese, Fofana, Badiashile, Chilwell, Enzo, Kante, Modric, Felix, Stalin, Aubameyang, and you live at Mount. Okay, good luck. Coach, please can you instruct the panelists? It's for privacy reasons. A lot of people don't want to come onto camera, so that's okay by me. Play players in correct positions. Okay. Frank beat Ancelotti at Everton. Did he? I don't remember that.
4-0.
Okay.
4-0.
Yeah.
William.
Okay. We have a spy. We have a spy inside Real. His initial who? EH. Who's that?
Eden Hazard.
Oh. You can say more. Maybe again you can say Hazard qualifying more for the spy aspect because Rudiger will most likely start, but Hazard could well start. Don't forget Real Madrid squad is not just Ancelotti. This squad have potential make better result than previous Galacticos. Okay. Let's see what we have here. Kachila, can we have a beautiful game on the panel? Have at least some perspective from the other shows. If he wants to come on up to him, my Lord in heaven, this is a terrible decision. You don't have to call the Lord in this case. I cannot believe we hired Frank Lampard the majority of Chelsea fans are confirmed nostalgia merchants, clueless. The season is done. That's 10 years ago, really. Not today. That's nothing new. We need stickers back. Striker back, all back. Okay, your phone trying to help you spell. Yes, the season is done because we signed Frank Lampard. The season is done 10 years ago, really. That's life. We'll move on from that. Rodrigo, you're sharp. Okay, that's for you. Let me ask this question, Rodrigo. Let me start with you. Lampard likes to play with a striker.
Yes.
So what happens? We have Dacho Fofana. We have Aubameyang. He's still in our books. What do you think he does?
I think he'll play Aubameyang. I think he'll go back to Aubameyang.
Please don't say
he wanted Aubameyang too.
Exactly. He actually did want to Aubameyang. I remember. Yeah.
Did he really?
Imagine if Lampard come out after Wolves and said the boys gave everything.
Do you think he'll play
That's
Aubameyang when all he's doing is preparing for the Champions League? I don't think so.
Oh yeah, you have a point.
Aubameyang's finished at Chelsea.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't think of that. No, he's not gonna play Aubameyang. Maybe the Brighton game, the one after Madrid. Even then, he still has.
He may well not give him he may well not give him a chance. It's clear that the hierarchy wants him out. The fact they went to the extent of accepting that we're going to be paying his salary, but let him join LAFC.
Yeah, exactly.
Am I right to assume if Mount doesn't play for Lampard, there's something deeper? Maybe the board are blocking that, because there's no way Mount can play.
No,
I think you're reading too deep. I don't think the board would ever do that.
No.
I think. Listen, I think a manager wants to play a player or players based on the fact that that manager wants to win.
Just for the sake of it, can you say that again the way you said it?
No, it's simple as that. I can't see any.
No, not the context. I like the context, but I like the rhythm. Player or players, please just say.
Well, yeah, because I don't see a coach or / a manager, however you want to term that position, of choosing or not choosing a certain individual based on a personal reason. They are there to win and win only. It's that simple. And I think they're professional enough to put away any personal differences. Where this person believes that this player A, B, or C fits into their criteria, whether it be a formation or whether it be a strategy, whether because of height or physicality, whatever, however you want to term it, or because the person is more technical or has speed, etc., etc. I think, or more experience, etc.
On your point, I just have a follow-up question. What
the Butler did it?
Lampard appointment? What Lampard's appointment and Mount's contract, are they related?
No, I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so. His contract comes down to him agreeing to what the owners are offering.
And was there a second shooter on the grass?
Let me just say, both parties coming to terms, coming to an agreement. Go ahead, Roger. Sorry.
Yeah, it's like I don't subscribe to that theory, sir. Listen. I think it was chosen for the obvious reasons we've stated.
And plus, Lampard is probably the only manager that will accept the conditions. Like, oh yeah, you're only here for 10 days, 10 games. Any other manager would demand to be part of the.
No, I think I think they chose him, but based on his obviously he's a huge legend at the club. It'll bring morale up. It would be definitely a crowd favorite, and because he does have a certain success rate here. As a coach, I'm talking about as well, obviously as well as a player. That goes without saying. The question is, who does he? What is his front line? Obviously, let's be honest here. The first person on the team sheet is N'Golo. Let's be honest. Ray Charles can see that. Then who does he pick? I think it's a fair assumption to say that Mount is, if he's healthy, is going to probably play a greater deal more than he has played as of late, whether that's from the bench initially or as a starter. But my question is, who does he have in goal, and who is front 3 or 4? That's what I'm dying to know.
I know Havertz will definitely have a say
Yes.
Whether he will be
I
left
agree.
there as much, I don't know. I think he will like the idea of Sterling, but may not be happy with Sterling's lack of finishing.
Yeah.
Um,
But you can
I
say
was
that
going
about
to add to,
everybody.
well, yeah, I was going to add to the certainties on the team sheet, Enzo, which I'm sure he would have
Well,
been
yes.
very impressed with after watching on Tuesday night.
How could you not be?
But absolutely, but the issue of the striker is a huge one, and he wouldn't know enough about Detra Fofana.
No.
I'm not even sure if he's seen him. He'll be able to see him in training. I hope he will. But wasn't Lampard around when they were experimenting Ruben as a number 9? Somebody did that. I forgot because he's played there in the youth system. I know. I've seen him there.
Oh, really?
And yeah, I have.
As an actual
Somebody
number
did
9?
it. Yeah, as a number 9. Was it Conte? Someone
Sorry,
did it.
it was Mauricio. Sorry.
Sorry, yeah. Yeah. And
Wow.
he
I
didn't
don't
do
recall
too
that.
badly. Yeah. So
Well,
I don't
he's
know.
much better going forward. Don't get me wrong.
And do you know someone who will use him well and who knows him well and worked with him in the youth system? Paul Clement. So, you have a lot of respect for Paul Clement, and
Yes.
I don't know. The front three is going to be very interesting. I don't know who they'll
Very.
use.
I'm
Don't know. And
dying to
Lampard
see
quite
that
likes
Saturday.
Pulisic as well. But
Yeah, he played well under him. You got to admit, under Frank, Pulisic was
Yeah.
excellent.
yeah. So it's a
So
mystery.
what does this mean for Modric, though?
For who?
Modric, I think is, you can tell he has no confidence. He's raw. He's not the finished article.
So does he play a lot of games? Because he's working on his fitness like crazy,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
you want to start. So what does
Frank
this
will
mean for
notice that.
him?
Maybe he
Yeah.
comes in off the bench.
Yeah, Frank will notice that. Frank will not be opposed
No.
to using some of the new talent. I can see him liking João Felix. I
Yeah.
can see him liking
yes.
Modric. I can see him liking Madueke. I can see him liking Carney.
He's got
because
he's got a clean white canvas to paint on right now.
Exactly.
Yes. I totally agree. I think he's going to give everyone a fair chance to impress on the training field. I don't think he comes here with
As
any
well as
preconceived
Zakaria.
notion.
We mustn't forget about Zakaria as well, in terms of like
there you
low
go.
type of
There you go.
situation.
That's another
Yes,
one he might decide
we
to
must
use.
forget about him.
No, I like him. No, I like him.
And Lampard likes physicality.
Yes.
So
As well as giving Kante a rest. That also needs to come into play as well. Because I know Lampard's not Kante a rest. He's going to play all the
Let me ask this question. Ty, do you think, let's bring in Ty, he hasn't spoken. Ty, what do you make of the whole situation? And do you think that you're Fofana coming to where we're at right now, bringing up to where we're at right now with the person who gets a chance? Do you think that you're Fofana gets a chance? I think for me, he's Lampard's kind of player. His energy, he's explosive too. But your thoughts, Ty?
Yeah. First of all, big up, and yeah, he's a player that I think will have an opportunity under Lampard. He's not your traditional number 9. He can play as a wide player, and he does have the technical ability that makes him probably a bit more advanced than Tammy Abraham's ability in terms of creativity and everything. So I think he's a player that would get an opportunity if he does impress Lampard. And the whole thing about Lampard, and I've seen some of the comments about him being appointed as an interim. I mean, yes, a part of it will be for the sake that he's an ex-player, he's a legend of the club, so that is going to help some people, especially those who are not really fond of him getting sacked when he was. But in a sense, I think it was the best thing to do in terms of having somebody that understands the club, what the demands are, somebody who understands that the club has had moments like this in the past where they've not been at their greatest, and obviously the circumstance. And I think somebody asked me in the press conference about the omen of the winning the Champions League after manager was sacked and then somebody being appointed in March, April. So in a sense, it although he's not a manager that or a coach that is really or somebody that has a good CV, he understands the club, he understands the passion, and he has the passion and he has the love for the club. So he'll want the club to do well, and he'll have an understanding of some of the players because he's worked with some of them before. So yes, it's not a case where he's been appointed permanently and he understands that it's an interim basis, although he probably has an interest of staying at the club longer than that because it's the club that he loves. But in terms of that, there's certain players and the discussion that you were having a while ago about certain players and which players you like. There's a lot of talent in the squad. He said that in the press conference as well. There's talent in the squad. It won't be easy to make certain decisions, but he will have probably preferences. He'll probably have players that you say, okay, I've watched these players from an outward perspective and I've seen what they can do. Enzo Fernandez, he probably may say that okay, he has a type of ability that could help the team. I mean, Jorginho was somebody that Lampard tried to use as that creative outlet at times. He wasn't really that all the time, but in terms of what Lampard can do, him being a midfielder as well, or an ex-midfielder, correction, that in a sense will probably be of asset to certain players. Zakaria is a player that has that technical ability. He's not afraid to take risks. So in a sense, it's a decision that perhaps most fans would like, but it's the best thing to do right now. Whilst the hierarchy tries to find their ideal man or somebody long term that can actually fit their project and what they want the club to do going forward.
Thank you so much, Ty. Anybody wants to add to that? Who gets a chance? There are lots of players there. Madrid case there. Some people are saying in the chat that he gets a chance. Some people are saying Chukwuemeka also gets a chance. But I want to get your thoughts so we can round off on that note. And something I've been saying here, just quickly before I'll let the panelists speak. I've been saying often, I've said that a zillion times. It doesn't make sense whenever you talk about something, you mention someone's nationality. And I have with Twitter, it's just me. I've been controlling myself not to go bananas on some people mentioning everybody because I asked the question and people are referencing my nationality and asking each other, do you see the flag on his profile? It's hilarious. At the same time, it shows it's not okay. You don't where you're from doesn't mean you know football better than any other person. I don't know why. And I'm tempted to say this is particularly very common with people from a certain area, but it wouldn't make sense. Then I'd be doing what I've been advising people not to do. That's not okay. I don't know why some people cannot simply present argument without mentioning somebody's nationality. I don't think it's okay. That's, by the way, anybody else on the panel want to say anything with regards to who gets a chance? A fresh start.
Well, for me,
you want
as
to
we
come in?
mentioned,
Yeah, go ahead.
For me, the number one person I'd like to see be given a chance is obviously David Fofana, Datra Fofana. This is one person I want to see.
Yeah, me too.
More than anything, before the season ends, whether it's in Europe or during the Premier League remaining games,
He's
I
not
want
playing
to
in
see him given at least.
He can't play in Europe,
No,
and that will count
that's
against him
true.
playing in the league.
Yeah, that will. But after, let's say the last 3 or 4 games, I want to see him play for at least, let's say, 70 to 90 minutes 2 or 3 times. I want to see him given a proper run, assuming A, he's healthy, and B, he's up to it. I want to see what he's about. Obviously, he must be good enough to make the squad. And yes, he's very young. He's a fetus. He's 20 years old, barely, just turned a couple of months ago. But that shouldn't matter. Because you know what? If you're good if you're good enough with age, regardless of your age, you're good enough to play. Or obviously, unless you're 45 and you've got no legs, that's different. But at that age, if he's good enough to put the ball in the back of the net, I just want to see him have an elongated rollout of games for 2 or 3 at the very least to see what he's like. You know what? He may not be the finished article, which is probably not, but I want to see what he brings and more precisely what hasn't the previous administration seen. Sorry,
we only signed to make profit. He's not gonna be here. But I guarantee you're probably gonna play more games on loan for Chelsea than at Chelsea.
Yes.
I've come to that realization.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yes, that realization. Me too.
But I don't think.
I just don't understand. He's not the sort of talent you send out on loan like that.
Yeah, but
it's not like on the few occasions he's gotten the chance to be on the pitch for the first team. It's not like he's been poor. He could have had 2 goals if it wasn't. The first one was an excellent save. The second was that he shot straight at the goalkeeper, and you could argue, given his age, probably was a bit nervous. But just go ahead. Whoever was
only
speaking.
10 games. It's only 10 games. Let's not get too excited about what play's gonna get.
No, I just
Lampard.
Yeah, it's like Lukaku. Lukaku went on loan a lot as a young player. And who was the player that actually we sold to Liverpool eventually? He went on loan a few times. I get it. That position usually we put out on loan, or most teams do, so they get the experience, because it's very rare that you're like you're.
What I was gonna say is the players that is gonna be business as usual in terms of the players that we're gonna see on most match days. Lampard is not gonna come in, start playing Lewis Hall, Carney, Chukwuemeka.
No. Well,
it's not gonna be that. I mean,
that depends. If we are mathematically eliminated from the top 6, then and I'm talking about Premier League games, then why not? Why not play these chaps?
Well, our stay in the Premier League is not confirmed yet, so we still have to make sure we're not gonna get relegated.
Well, I'm talking about the last.
I know people
the last
think
3 or 4 games.
We only 12 points from safety, so we still have to make sure we stay safe. So I don't expect Lampard to change a lot of things. Nah, it's gonna be business as usual. It's gonna be a back 3. He's gonna probably be.
Of course, but that's why I mentioned the last 2 to 3 to 4 games. If we are safe,
even those games are against Man City, Newcastle. You're not expecting Lampard to throw in a bunch of kids for those games. So you don't expect anything. This kid will probably get 1 or 2 minutes here. It's gonna be the same as Graham Potter. The only difference is the approach to games will be different, because obviously Lampard is his own man. He brings in his own stuff. But in terms of the personnel, don't expect big thing. Don't expect Carney.
Yeah, but that's just it. That's just it. He doesn't have a full contract. He has a tenureship of 9, well, technically 11 plus games. So therefore, he's under no pressure in that regard. So this is we
still have to make sure we don't get relegated.
So hear me out. So hear me out. Mathematically, once relegation is assured, is eradicated, and the top 6 is not possible mathematically, then it would behoove him to actually look at the remaining games as a pre-season, assuming we're eliminated from the Champions League also. Does that make sense? That then use that time for 3 or 4 games to see what these youngsters can do.
Yeah,
you can't replicate the speed of a game in training. You cannot. It's that simple. They all take time and time again.
When it comes to mathematically being safe in the Premier League, we just need 43 to 40 points. Like, it's not a huge, mark, but like 1 win can get that. Yeah. And I know it's kind of hard to see 1 win from this Chelsea side currently, but again, like for Lampard, in terms of like picking a side, I think it's more of a Real Madrid game more than anything. Like, I think that determines who plays. If we continue into the Champions League, and let's say we do miracles and beat Real Madrid, right? Which I think we can, because we Chelsea. We Chelsea. It's a disaster season. Check in the box. We might win the thing, right? This is Chelsea things. I'm just talking on some faith thing. If we do get through to the semifinals, then he's going to continue whatever got us there, that formation is going to continue and be its prime.
Exactly.
Yeah. So players like Detro Fofana, the Chukwuemekas. I agree with Rodrigo. Like a lot of players are going to start. I think it's just going to be as usual
Yeah, of course not.
Yeah.
But I'm saying hypothetically, if we aren't relegated mathematically, it's eradicated, and we can't make top 6, and we're eliminated, for instance, from the Champions League, then it behooves him to perceive the remaining Premier League games as a pre-season, because it's not going to matter from a
but what do you
statistical
think
point of
Lampard
view. You
will want
can't
to
play
do
in
that?
Europe next year. Does that make sense?
I don't think Lampard. I don't think he cares. I don't think. He probably wanna win, even if there's mathematically it's impossible for all of that, just for his own reputation. I don't think right now. Forget about these kids getting minutes. Forget it. It's not gonna happen.
I'm not saying play it. I'm not saying playing 11 rookies. I'm not saying that. You're taking it to the extreme. I'm saying playing 1 or 2. Do you understand?
Even those 1 and 2, the Fofana, I can't see him getting any minute. I'll be honest with you.
Or a Carney, for instance. The instances we've seen Carney, have they been poor? There's one instance where he had a relatively quiet game. The rest were actually very welcoming. Listen, we're not asking to put someone that's in a wheelchair to go out on the field. We're talking about professional players here. The only disadvantage they have is youth. I'm not.
I think I think the exercise of training youngsters and giving them opportunities, IBZ is right. They will go out of the window for this period of time that Frank is here, where results is the aim. The good thing about this team that has been selected is that these are Chelsea people. Frank, Ashley Cole, apart from the defensive coach.
Is Ashley Cole? I don't know. Is Ashley Cole in the squad? Oh, that's awesome.
Part of the team, yeah. The defensive coach is staying till the end of the season. People like, who's that one that he poached from us in the first place and took
Joe Edwards.
Joe Edwards is coming back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with Paul Clement. Now, not only are these people Chelsea people, but they have memory of the Champions League. Frank and Ashley, both Moscow and Munich, will be very much in their minds. And Paul Clement, things like Moscow and those dreadful games where we were robbed in 2009, the semi-final against Barcelona. He was there for all of that.
Yeah.
So these guys will be motivated to the hilt. And if they're get through Real Madrid, if they get through Real Madrid, honestly, guys, we can dream.
Game on.
You know what I mean? We can dream because these guys could do it, and as much as anybody else. They have the players, but if they get through Real Madrid, they would have shown that they've been able to find something that works. So it's no longer about the youngsters
Just
anymore.
quickly, anybody acquainted with Frank's record with Pep?
Oh yes,
we know
the last game
with Bayern
1-1. The drew 1-1. Everton actually took points off Pep this season.
Coach, I don't think
with Chelsea, I think
matters.
he was good against Pep.
We beat them. The last Big Six team that we beat at home, apart from Spurs, is Lampard 2-1 versus Guardiola. When Pulisic scored.
I don't really reckon with all those.
And we guarantee Liverpool winning the Premier League.
Yeah. That's the game that gave Liverpool the title, actually.
Yeah. Ty, you used to be into telling us because of this happened today, you expect this to happen the other day. What do you think will happen? Do you think Frank can win it?
I was actually laughing to myself and I was saying, imagine the scenes that we sat Lampard right after the knockout, not the knockout, after the group stage. He doesn't get to do anything. I know he's back in a smaller role and in the knockout stage. And considering somebody mentioned something about Ancelotti and Lampard, it reminded me that, and know what I think about, I don't think Lampard lost to Ancelotti while he was at Chelsea and Ancelotti was at Everton. I might be wrong, but I don't think we did.
No,
And
never.
yeah, so that in a sense gave me that sense of okay, Lampard has his number a bit because we won 4-0. I don't know the other result before that because I know that two could
Yeah,
play
but
that. No,
have you noticed the difference in talent from Everton to Real Madrid? Small
yeah, but
technicality.
my
Jack.
point is my point is there's a difference from that team that won 4-0. Although we had Willian and we had Pedro and you had
Yeah.
Giroud.
Listen,
you have,
players play, coaches coach. Trust
Yeah.
me. You know,
Yeah, but-
it's this Real Madrid team. Yes, there's egos, but they are elite players. They are world class players. When you have that midfield is formidable. It's like you can't compare. You're comparing apples to oranges, sir. I mean that politely. You can go back and say yes, he's beaten an Ancelotti Everton team, but you know you're talking about a musket compared to an Uzi submachine gun. The amount of bullets that Real Madrid have on that pitch, the talent level is on a different league, sir.
Just to add on,
the difference between Real Madrid and Everton is obviously there. You can see the difference is obvious. They have players that Everton can only dream of. But my point is that they also have weaknesses. They won Barcelona 4-0 I think yesterday.
Yeah, did anyone watch that game, by the way? I haven't seen it.
And I was watching the game and I saw weaknesses that they have, but Barcelona weren't able to post on that. And what Real Madrid have done is score goals. If you score goals, obviously you win games. Or if you outscore, it's done.
Breaking news.
if you outscore your opponent, then you win games.
Yeah,
so they scored goals. So that's what I'm saying. They made the mistakes, but they still scored. So it's about and considering the fact that we couldn't finish, and when we did finish, it was offside. Against Liverpool, it's going to be.
That's been our DNA. But I think Frank can, to some extent. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's going to. Well, I was about to say Twitch's magic wand, but that will be Potter. I don't think he's going to be the remedy. And turn 180 degree around, and all of a sudden, every player is going to get a hat trick. I'm not saying that, but what I do say, I think that this I think maybe to the detriment of our actual team, to the detriment of the defense, I think we'll put more emphasis on going forward and scoring.
Can I just say as well, one last point before I love and leave you guys. Here's I'm just putting it out there, right? Last time if we play Wolves and we draw that game, we're winning the Champions League. That's all I'm gonna say because there's so many correlations.
We need to beat.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say before Roger started to remind me.
Yeah, I just have to go, guys. Peace and love to everybody in the chat.
As always.
And yeah, big up, everybody. Yeah.
Bobby, you there?
Let me ask this. It looks like everybody has gone to bed. Just quickly, this question. Here are the games we have here. Which of these Premier League games do you think we can win? We have starting from Wolves is the next one. Next Premier League game is against Brighton. Next one is against Manchester United. The next one is against Brentford. They got the best out of us the last time we played, right?
Brentford are tough, especially aerially. Brentford aerially they win everything defensively and offensively.
Was that a draw or did we lose?
I think we lost, didn't we?
No, we drew.
We drew.
It was a draw, right? Then we have Arsenal, we have Bournemouth, we have Nottingham Forest. Which one of these games do you think we can win?
I think we'll win. I think we'll beat
Bournemouth and Forest.
And let us know if it's a prophecy or you're just talking.
The prophecy was to beat a team in white.
Here we go again with the white. Listen, realistically, we can beat Wolves, we can beat Bournemouth, we can beat Forest. Okay,
we can beat all of those things on paper.
Yeah, on any given day, we could lose to any team, and we can beat any team, and we can draw with any team.
Wow.
But realistically, well,
I didn't know that.
Sorry?
I didn't know that. So we can win, lose, or draw.
No, I'm just saying. realistically, we're capable of doing all of the aforementioned. Let's be honest here. It all depends on how clinical we are. If Frank can obviously change the system and impart confidence into the players of being more clinical, then the equation changes, because this is a solid team. It's deep in positions too, and don't forget with the advent, with the return of N'Golo, that changes our team completely.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't played in 6-7 months, and he's just returning now. So this is perfect timing for us.
I think we'll have a chance to beat Wolves. I think Ruben Neves is not going to play. I don't know
Neves
if
is a good player. I like him.
Podence might get suspended for spitting at our Nottingham Forest player. I don't know if his suspension will start after Chelsea or for this game. He might get 6-game ban.
Did he get the 6-game ban?
No, speculation so far.
Yeah, because they said that they couldn't see it on camera. But yeah, whatever.
I saw it. Like VAR was looking at it and they missed it. And
really? He should be banned then. Regardless, he should be banned if that's the case then.
Yeah, I was watching.
Regardless, the United game. Listen, every time we play United, we seem to be the better team, but we never seem to put them away.
Same as Liverpool.
Yeah. And listen, this equation of scoring, this changes everything. If we can get a couple of players with confidence, hopefully it opens the floodgates. Listen, the London derbies are tough. Brentford, that's their FA Cup final. Arsenal is going to be tough. Let's be honest here, because it's going to be an Arsenal.
I think we're going to ruin it. That's the game I want to win the most.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I would like to see us put more emphasis, obviously, in Europe, but let's see. It's really going to be interesting, the Wolves game, the lineup and the formation. I want to see. I think he's going to put a lot of trust in the veterans, of course, and it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Overall, go ahead.
I won't be surprised if Mount doesn't start. I won't be surprised at all.
If he starts or doesn't,
he may be cautious about starting him in his first game, because he understands people will start saying something.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
do you think that really comes? Do you really think he worries or even thinks about that? What other people think?
That's why I used the word "may."
Yeah, no, and I get that. Yeah. I get that. But do you really think he's even bothered about what people think from a fan base on who he picks?
No, he has nothing to lose. He wants a result, and if he believes Mount will help him get that result, he may start him. It's as simple as that. Except if he's one of those that believes Mount is not, his form is not in good form right now, then he also wouldn't mind benching him, because his job comes first. His reputation.
Is there an afternoon training session today with Frank or no?
Yes.
They should train. There's no time to waste.
No, but will Frank be involved in it today? And that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, they said. I read somewhere to say you'll be at Cobham this afternoon.
Okay, good, excellent. So that's good.
Yeah. Finally, I want to say good luck to him. We can't change anything, whether you like it or not. I didn't like that, probably because I was one of those hoping that a new manager will come in immediately. And even some pundits think that would be the case. And I've seen some people asking the question, if the managers are asking us to wait till the end of the summer, for instance, if Enrique asked us to wait until the summer, why come for the interview in the first place if you're not ready to start now? So, but we're not sure what really transpired between during the conversation or interview, or maybe.
What a silly question. You go for the interview when you're told to come for the interview. You know what I mean? For a job that you want, I'm just
saying. I'm not asking. I'm just saying that's what has led to the question people are asking. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that's how the club wants it. If you want the job, you go according to how they want it. What makes you think right from the off the club had made up their mind that they would want someone to start in the summer? You know, I
never said that. I'm saying the assumption.
No, I'm not saying you per se. I'm just saying in view of the situation.
I think the sticking point, Bobby, is the Nagelsmann with the contract with Bayern. I don't think Bayern are prepared to release.
Yeah, people are saying some speculations that that's the case.
I think that's a solid assumption. I think that's a solid assumption, gentlemen.
Yeah, it would seem that way, that the Nagelsmann option is being taken into consideration. But maybe in the spirit of fairness, that's another thing they just feel they should do. But it does seem slightly skewed towards giving Nagelsmann a chance of getting the job.
Who do you think, in your opinion, gentlemen, who do you think is the front runner?
There's no telling.
Between Enrique and Nagelsmann.
Who do you think is the front runner?
It's hard to say because Enrique was there. They haven't even spoken with Nagelsmann face to face.
In person, yeah.
In person, yeah. So Enrique was there, and according to Fabrizio Romano, so like Bobby did say yesterday, he had a very good presentation with PowerPoint. They say and all that, stating clearly how each player plays and how he wants to utilize them, something to that effect. So there's no telling really. I've seen somebody say the delay is for the fact that Chelsea doesn't want to pay what they have to pay by and now. Should they hire Nagelsmann now? So why
could be a
waste
factor.
it? Why go through the process of doing that? Why they can wait till the end of the season and somehow get them? I'm not sure if that makes sense. But
why? Yeah, I can answer that question. I know it's a hypothetical. Why? It's because Nagelsmann could come in and he could win the Champions League for us. That's why, hypothetically speaking. You know, because otherwise we're not in Europe next year. Simple.
All right, it has happened. And if you're watching, my advice is that we have to support our team. I know we can't change anything, even if you don't like Frank. The truth is, we have to express ourselves. I didn't like that they happened. And like I said, even if I looked at his first stint at the club as a manager, he started well. And like I've mentioned before, his problems started the moment we started signing players. Even Tammy, that was one of his best players in the first season, started seeing less and less game time. So I think he's capable of beating Ancelotti. Until it happens, until the game is played and they beat us, then you say, you know what, we've lost. But as long as it has not been played, we're capable of beating them. So let's support our team and move on. We're not going to change anything, no matter whether you like it.
On the news conference.
Yeah. It's interesting times, gentlemen. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, interesting indeed. Yeah. Just follow the punch, and it won't hurt that much.
Go with the flow.
Go with the flow. So thank you so much. And again, the way this, even though I couldn't speak because I was feeling a lot of pain, it gave me an idea of a format we can use sometimes. Just let the conversation flow. Don't let it be too structured. I think a lot of people were able to express themselves.
It was a great show today. Great show.
Yeah, it was an excellent show. Excellent conversation.
I hope you feel better, Coach. I really do.
Yeah, I will. Most definitely. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. Thank you to everybody on the panel. Thank you to Roger Emperor, who was here. Ty, thank you for finding the time to join. Unfortunately, I have to run. My boy, I have to help him get ready for school. Thank you to AD Love for Blue, Roger Pop, Bob Rigo, who's gone. Everybody in the chat, the Bluetooth for game, Bobby Fairview, JC, my bro. Lampard says he hasn't been told that it's strictly until the end of the season. Did you hear that? Okay. I salute you, Kuchela, for taking that position against the low level. Yeah, that's really xenophobic if you paid attention to that on Twitter. I asked a question, and they were mentioning some people taking screenshot of the American flag and the Nigerian flag on my profile. That's the list of my concerns. It's just worrying, really, to see what people are doing. But
it's not necessary.
It's not necessary. And I preach that a lot. Just if you don't like what I say, present your counter argument or say this is wrong or something. Coach, big up yourself for tolerating the record-breaking poor takes from the panel. Much love to you. I love your brother. And I did send you an inbox. Can you check it? Big up to everyone. We have another show soon. If there's the need for an evening show, we'll do so. But I don't think there's a need. We already know Frank is the interim manager till the end of the season. See you guys next time, and God bless us all, and bye. Much love to everybody. I can't get everybody today. I'm barely holding on here to round off the show. Thank you, guys. God bless us all. I'll see you guys next time, and bye.